Hello there. The fuck? This is crazy though. It's not again. Exactly. Shaking, dude. This is obviously going to be a wild show. And he proved that. And he's a Jewish supremacist. The audio is out. Oh, gotcha.
Billionaire. But no one is really sure how he got his money. It's conspicuous. It's suspicious.
Yeah, that's the word.
How did he get his money? Well, two Jewish clients affiliated with Israel. They just gave him hundreds of millions of dollars. They gave him houses and planes and businesses and all kinds of things. Well, that's not normal. And what it would tend to suggest is that Epstein was some sort of mercenary.
Well, and a lot of people are
intelligence
like,
operative.
what was so
He was the
special about this
go-between.
guy? Nothing.
He was clearly involved at the highest level
He's
of
Jewish.
state
That's what's
and
special
business.
about him.
And
And he also brokered deals between countries. Oh, damn. Straight up.
state Jewish attitudes about
Right.
Goyim, about America, Jewish allegiance to the nation in which they
Yeah, this guy
reside.
was a
It is a story that tells us a lot about
Israeli
how the world
supremacist.
works. And Epstein is just the tip of the iceberg. What
Gonna
we
open
see
a
in the
lot of
files
eyes.
is the tip of the iceberg of what we know about him. And he is the tip of the iceberg about what is going on in society. There's
Yeah. Huh. Oh my goodness, man. What the hell?
things. And so tonight, I want
Bro,
to parse out
this
who
is
the
getting to
real
the point.
Epstein is. I want to talk about what is in the files,
Can't take my
what is
eyes off it
not
for a
in the
second.
files, the conclusions we can draw. I want to debunk some of the popular claims. Here's the thing. I've said this for weeks about everything, about Charlie Kirk, about the winter weather, all this stuff. Our superpower is the truth. We don't have money. We don't have Jewish connections. We don't have a platform. Like, we don't have anything, okay?
Just
You
one
saw what
vote.
happened to me today on Kick. We don't have nothing. What we have, what makes us successful, is that we have the truth. It's persuasive, it's compelling,
Yeah.
and it speaks for itself. We don't need to embellish, we don't need to exaggerate or
It is
lie or take
compelling.
shortcuts. We have the truth. And that is why this message has gotten out against all odds,
It
in spite of
stings.
censorship, cancellation, blacklisting, the rest of it. And yet, people are either not interested in telling the truth, so they're not doing their homework, they're not doing their research for one reason or another, and so they're spreading falsehoods unknowingly, or they're lying. And honestly, there's not much of a difference
Not really.
because both would speak to the fact that people have no respect for the
They're
truth.
obfuscating.
Either they have a reckless disregard for it, they don't care about it, they're not pursuing it, and it makes them prone to making provable errors, or they're lying, in which case they also have a disregard for the truth. They don't see a value in it, and so they disregard it. And so I've seen all over the timeline this entire weekend just one false claim after another. It's just fake. And the stuff is sloppy. People are taking vague half truths. They're taking what they call it evidence. It's a lot of vague.
Well, what sucks about it is people have always done this, but you didn't have the internet to just throw it shit against the wall, you know? And now, like with the Pizzagate with John Podesta, they always devolve into these occult conspiracies. What starts as evidence for people doing some really bad shit, and it turns into a farce, and it discredits the whole structure of data.
Stuff
So
or
they're
stuff
doing a
that's provably
disservice.
false. They're drawing the worst inference possible. They're extrapolating really extreme
It's
conclusions
misinformation.
based on that, and then passing those conclusions off as established fact. And they're doing this for engagement. I see it all the time. And I'll give you some concrete examples. I will show you. I'm going to put it up on the screen. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't want to hear any belly aching. I don't want to hear any complaining. You deserve this, okay? You need to hear this.
Yeah.
And if you care about
Bro,
the
it
truth,
is
you will
dark
listen.
and
If you are a
disturbing
peasant with
shit.
a pitchfork and a torch, then you're not going to care. You're going to tune this out. You'll have some big problem with what I'm about to say. But it's very important that we are led with the truth. We need to understand the world that we live in and the world that we inhabit.
And be
We can't jump
realists.
to conclusions. We can't disregard the evidence and the truth. And we can't create imaginary caricatures. I don't want to see us overplay our hand. Because let
Exactly.
me tell you something. Make no mistake about it. Jewish power is on the ropes. It really is. Because that is what is happening in the world.
Absolutely.
That is what has been happening in the world for hundreds of years. It is the ascendancy of organized Jewry in the West. And the concentrated military and financial power of Western Europe and the United States has allowed Jews, through infiltration of these states and institutions, to
Yeah.
basically become a global power.
Because our power is global and we let them come into our country after World War II, and now they're like puppets. They now are manning all of these different institutional power centers because we let them in after World War II. They subverted us, usurped us, and now they sit up top as like almost like a Theoden in Lord of the Rings being possessed by what's his name? Saruman.
People are becoming aware of this. The Jews have overplayed their hand. They got greedy. They became filled with hubris and pride. They made mistakes. Everything is now out in the open. And even there are many Jews that are reflecting on this and saying
They're
that
disgusted
this
by
is the
it.
end of the Jewish golden age. This is the downfall of Jewish power. I
We're
really
no longer
believe that we are
victims.
living through a
That's what they're saying in
transitional
their
period.
heads.
Saw this after October 7th. The
Thank God.
consciousness is certainly raising. Subjects that were taboo are now acceptable, even popular. But it will all be in vain if we snatch
Yeah.
defeat from the jaws of victory by overplaying our hand. And how do we do that? We take it too far. And by take it too far, I don't mean we take the truth too far. I mean, we get all excited and whipped up and emotional, and people start talking about crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about reality. Israel is influencing our government. Jews are the go-between in society. It's afforded them enormous power and influence.
That's undeniable.
They're using it to benefit themselves. Estranged from Christ, they are estranged from truth, good, and beauty. And so their fruits will always be bad because they're the fruits of the poisonous tree. Having rejected Christ, the only pathway to the Father, the only pathway to God, they can never access the truth, the good, or the beautiful. That is why they produce communism, leftism, extreme capitalism.
Cultural
That is why they
garbage.
produce degeneracy and a lot of the problems we see in the country. But now you see people are talking about lizard people and time travel and weather machines and all this other stuff.
Offensive to be talking.
And here's the amazing thing. At the end of that rainbow, at the end of that train of logic, that train of thought, at the end, the people that are pushing that narrative will then say it isn't even about the Jews at all, but it's about something else. And I'll show you a concrete example of exactly what I mean by that, because I saw it today. I watched Candace Owens do her show today. She talked about Epstein a little bit, and it was discursive. She had all these different digressions into Freud and psychology and all this other stuff, NASA.
She's a fucking dunce.
And in the end of her own show, she said, it's not about Jews and Christians. She said, it's about Khazarians who are really gypsies that are pagan occultists that are pretending to be Jews for the last 1,300 years, but they're not really.
Can anybody like being bullshitted like that?
So this is the point.
Just don't get
That's
it.
the point of all of that. You get people whipped up for 6 months with complete irrationality, what I would call the great or grand conspiracy. Now we're just getting into time travel and psychic children and lizard people and shapeshifters, all this kind of stuff.
Quite
and in
feminine
the end, what
to
it
me.
leads to
That
is,
sounds like women talk.
It actually is a diversion from the only conspiracy that is true.
It's a joke.
And in the end, they want to deny the essence of the matter, which is that this is a theological, political story about Jews and Christians. Make no mistake about it. And this is Catholic doctrine.
Starting to become obvious
the past 2,000 years,
the layman.
honestly, the past 5,000 years, it's a story of Jews and Christians.
Duking it out.
The church and the synagogue. Christ and the Pharisees. That's the story. Anyone that tells you otherwise, anyone that tells you it's the Khazarians, it's gypsies, it's occultists pretending to be Jews, it's not those good Jews. Judaism as such cannot be good. It does not have Jesus. So your law your tradition, your mysticism without Christ is dead. It's nothing. It can only tend towards evil. And that's the truth. So we're
So
going to get
good.
into all that. That's my little preamble. And I hope that we're going to be grown up. Honestly, though, I don't care. I mean, this is a line in the sand, straight up. This is one of those shows, just like with Trump, which I called correctly, and just like with everything else, this is one of these shows that is a line in the sand.
Absolutely. Give it
Are
to
you
him,
on the
Nick.
side of the truth, or are you on the side of slop? Are you an engagement farming slop pusher
Slot merchant.
and you don't really care? You know, for example, I did a show about this last week and I'm spitting pure facts. And I have people saying, well, this isn't a good look. I saw Sneeko say, well, this is bad optics.
Who
So
gives a
you're saying that
fuck?
we should
It's
lie?
right.
You're saying that we should,
Yeah.
out of a sense of
Sneeko
shame
is
or because of
not a
where
good
the
person.
public opinion is, we should lie?
Right?
We should create propaganda? No, I'm sorry. I didn't sacrifice everything to
Right.
start lying now.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't sacrifice a career and all the rest of it to tell the truth so that 10 years in, I could be held hostage by people that
His
I
audience.
red-pilled 6 months ago, that I red-pilled a couple years ago. I don't think so. So I'm drawing a line. You either care about the truth or you don't. It is reckless. It is like a runaway train.
Truly.
People just want to make more and more exaggerated claims. It only goes in one direction.
Oh wow, people are actually
More
listening.
wild,
Now
more out
they'll
there,
believe anything.
more extreme, more fanatical, more crazy, and there's no limiting principle. Time travel, sure, why not? Psychic children, hey, why the fuck not? We're already there. Lizard people, sure, throw that in there too. You know, there's no limiting principle. It just goes up and up and up and away.
It's not good for us.
And I'm telling you this,
Awful.
if you want to actually achieve our goals, the truth is important. And, you know, we're just not winning with the message that is totally insane like that, that is irrational, that is, based in this kind of wild conjecture. Intelligent people don't go for this sort of stuff because intelligent people care about the truth. And the other line, aside from that, like I said, it is, as I talked about with Tucker Carlson, as I talked about with Candace Owens, Ian Carroll, Dave Smith. I talked about during the generational run, I talked about this with all those people. This is the other line. What is the essence of what we're talking about? What is the thing at the bottom of it all? What is the nucleus of all of this? Because I'm a Catholic. I am a Christian. And I really believe it as Catholics, it's Christ at the center versus everything. And it seems that our primary foe, the primary foil and dialectic in the history of the church is those wayward Jews. The Pharisees that had Christ killed, the Pharisees that were driven from Israel, the Pharisees that then created this breakaway religion, which we now call Talmudic Judaism or mystical Judaism. That is truly the dialectic. It is between Catholics and Jews. It is an ethnic, political, and theological battle between Israel and Rome, between Israel and the nations, between Jacob and Esau,
The
church and
Gentiles.
synagogue. You have everybody else on the other side that is liberal. Fundamentally, they are liberal. They see everything through an individualist lens, and they do not want to put the blame on the Jews or Judaism as such or Jewish peoplehood. And so what you hear from them all the time, the common refrain, is it's got nothing to do with Jews, it's Israel.
That's bullshit.
As a matter of fact, it has nothing to do with Israel, it has to do with Israel's government. This is the refrain that you hear from Tucker, Ian Carroll, Candace Owens, all of these, Johnny-come-lately anti-Semites, all of these red-pilled yesterday people, you'll hear this refrain. It's
Bandwagon
not
people.
Jews, it's Zionists. It's not Jews, it's Israel. It's not
Well,
even
it doesn't
Israel,
matter
it's
what
the
they
Likud
call
party.
it. It's the
Netanyahu,
same
it's Israel's
thing.
government.
They just seem
The
to
other
think
thing that you will hear all the time,
it's ridiculous.
what about those good Jews like Dave Smith? Cenk Uygur and Tucker talked about it last week. Candace Owens grilled me about this. What about Dave Smith?
Right?
Let me tell
Grilled
you
him.
something. As Christians, we don't view the world through the lens of individualism. We're not individualists.
Yeah.
We don't believe that everybody's an individual. We believe that everybody is a person. Okay? The abstraction of an individual, I'm an individual,
Individual
you're an
shit is a bunch of
individual, we all
crap.
have rights, we should be judged individually. This is a liberal proposition.
Damn right.
This is a liberal blank slate idea. Catholics believe in persons. What's the difference? A person is bound. They don't just have rights, they have obligations.
Yes, responsibilities.
And they exist socially and relationally. We don't believe that an individual is the fundamental unit of society. Society is not organized on the basis of individuals. It's organized on the basis of families that contain distinct persons. A husband, a wife, a child. Families are actually the central building block, not individuals. Families comprised of persons, not individuals that are atomic and exist in a vacuum, have neither a beginning nor an end, are not bookended, are not related in any way to other people. We believe in families. What does that mean?
Families are units.
It means that Dave Smith might have the right views on the war in Gaza, but he's got, I think, a Jewish wife, and he's got Jewish kids necessarily. He's got a Jewish family. He's got Jewish parents. Came from a Jewish community. So these attitudes that come from this tribe, that come from this nation, even if a particular person might disagree with one or another thing,
they still subscribe to the rest.
In general, the generality, they're colored by these attitudes, by a particular culture. And so whenever people try to say, really the world is about good people versus bad people, it's about good Christians, good Jews, and good Muslims against...
The world isn't about good and bad people. It's about just people. And people do good things and bad things. They don't do just one or the other. This is such a fucking low IQ take or point of view.
The bad people that have infiltrated all the religions, this is a liberal idea. This is not a Christian idea. It's not a Catholic idea. It's a load of garbage. And I'm drawing a line. No, sorry. It is the Jews. Here on this show, it is the Jews. It is a story of Christians and Jews. That is the issue. It is Jewish peoplehood. It ain't anybody else.
It is.
And we have seen that over and over and over again.
The people that Jewish parents raised.
ADL, World Jewish Congress, B'nai B'rith. It's these types of groups.
Whatever you want to call them.
Jewish State of Israel. It's Jewish billionaires. That's what it is. I will hear no more of this.
None.
It's not a battle between monotheistic religions. It's about the Satanists
look
in
at
every
Epstein.
religion.
Did he think?
And the good people in the other religions.
Like, what did he think?
There's nothing Christian
absolutely
about this idea.
Thought it was
Christians
a Jewish
don't
thing.
think that you get to heaven and you achieve salvation by being a heckin' good dude. I'm a good dude in any religion. Oh, so believe whatever you want. No, there's a word for that. It's called indifferentism.
Yeah.
No one gets to the Father
person.
except through Christ. Not Muslims, not Jews, not Buddhists, not Hindus, not non-dualistic Easterners, Taoists. No one gets to the Father except through Christ. And without that light shining from the Father through the Son, proceeding through the Holy Spirit, without that light shining into everything that we do, the world becomes corrupted. Like everything that is created, it dies. It goes away. So I don't buy into this. We're all just going to join up together. It's Basim Youssef and Dave Smith and the good Christians versus the Satanists and all our religions. That is like that's like global religion stuff. That's like universal religion, indifferentism. That's a load of shit. Yeah. I don't buy into that.
If all the religions
that's
are
another
right,
line.
then
Let's
none
talk
of them
about
are right.
what is going on. I'm not buying into this occult nonsense and schizo type stuff. You want to look into that? You can look into that.
Yeah.
But that is not where it is.
Waste my time.
So anyway, that's going to be our show. We're also going to talk, if we have time, about the situation in Iran. There's been some major developments. Looks like there's going to be a meeting this Friday between Steve Witkoff and Iran's foreign minister, Araghchi. And it appears as though Trump is looking for an off-ramp. So as always, Trump has issued these maximalist demands gunboat diplomacy. We've got the aircraft carrier. We're locked and
But
loaded.
Nick, you were just
But it's
saying
not going
that
to
we
be
were
enough.
going to
Iran is
war on
not backing
Friday.
down. They're threatening
You
a
said it
regional
was a done
war.
deal,
The
big
United
dog.
States is
What's
not
going on?
really going to be able to defend themselves.
What happened?
It's going to be a brutal, protracted conflict that we're really not ready for. And so now it looks like Trump is trying to buy himself some time or maybe get out of this one. So
That's funny.
if we
He
have time,
didn't
we'll
say,
talk about
sorry,
that
guys,
too.
I was
Should
wrong.
be a
I
pretty
jumped
good
the gun a
show.
little
Before we
bit.
get into it, I want to remind you to smash the follow
It
button on
says,
Rumble,
oh,
smash the
Trump's
like
changed.
button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the show. Tell me in the comments. I'm not going to read them, though.
He said, for sure, we're going to war with
You know
Iran.
what the comments are? These comments are an abundance of goyim. I don't even read my comments because it's just an abundance of goyim. Seriously? Yeah, goyim. Can you believe it? I don't even read them. Goyim talk, I'm not listening. But anyway, so that's that. Remember to check out our store, Fuentes.store. We're selling our brand new America First quarter zip. Very controversial. Everybody's mad about the quarter zip. It's just an 80% cotton, 20% polyester blend. It can't hurt you. It's just a shirt. It can't hurt you. I see people are saying, he needs to apologize. You need to leave. It's like, apologize to who? For what? It's a shirt. People are saying, you need to apologize. Who would I even apologize
Open
to?
up
It's a shirt.
8-year-old
We're
or no,
selling a
9-year-old
shirt.
can from 2000.
We stitched
That's
a
major
design
on it.
onto a shirt and then we sold it. People are saying, apologize to who? Who do I need to explain that one to me? Apologize, my ass. And you know how this shows, this is why Goyim are fuck niggas.
God, that shit is...
Shut your Goyim ass up, fuck nigga. Shut your Goyim ass up, fuck nigga. You want to know why Goyim are fuck niggas? Because Goyim will make fun of the Holocaust every day like it's going out of style. 6 million, more like 271,000, am I right? Lampshades and bars of soap, my ass. Okay, people did die though, okay? Like, I don't think that 6 million died.
But you join in with people when they do
lampshades
something and then you fucking
people
scold
definitely
them.
died.
They get in trouble.
But fuck nigga Goyim make fun of that all day long.
Bro, you made fun of it for
And
a
they
fucking
say,
decade.
6 million didn't really die. Hitler was awesome, did nothing wrong.
He's
Then,
impersonating
a humble
himself
shirt
right there. How
salesman
about that?
sells a humble little shirt,
about
a
that for
cute
some
little
shit?
top that everybody loves. And people go, you need to apologize. I have kids. I have kids, and this shirt offends me. It's like, okay, well,
Go be offended.
You know, Jews have grandparents. It's called jokes, bro. Now we can't make a fucking joke. Whoa. Hello, since when did this turn into like a GameStop? Niggas be coming in like, it's ma'am. It's ma'am. She was 17. It's like, it's okay. What does that have to do with this delicious little shirt? It's, you know what? Goyim fucking ruin everything. They ruin everything. It's crazy. We're out here being edgy and having a good time. And it's like, look, when everybody was like a Jewish NPC, it was funny to say like, Jews suck, Hitler did nothing wrong, and everybody would freak out. And the same people would say, you're an anti-Semite. Now, it's like everyone's an anti-Semite. So now it's kind of funny to say like, Goyim suck. Jeffrey Epstein's awesome. Take away your island. What kind of man are you? Billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, city boy? That, you know, then you start posting TikTok edits about that and the same people go, you're a pedophile. It's like, okay.
What do you give a fuck
All
what
right,
they
already.
think, Nick? Fuck those people.
I've heard enough out of you,
Come on,
pal.
dude. Why do you
Goyim
even
in
give
abundance.
these people fucking
So
your
anyway,
mental time?
everybody's freaking
Fuck
out.
'em.
If you want to see the shirt that has caused so much controversy, Fuentes.store, check it out. We sold thousands of them. We've sold thousands. You will see people wearing them. Oh, I'm afraid they are very operational. You will see people at the gym, in college, at frat parties. I'm afraid the quarter zips are very operational. No one will be apologizing anytime soon. If your children don't like the shirts, I don't know what to tell them.
Fuck yeah.
Stop acting like Goyim. You don't want to be called a Goyim? Don't act like a Goyim.
There's nothing wrong with being Goyim.
Goyim is kind of like the
99.9%
N-word,
of
but
human
for
beings
all
are Goyim.
Gentiles.
It's just
And I feel like the wise
a Jew
old
word.
goy that's kind of like shaking my head at these younger generations. I'm like, man, it's like I'm like doing a Chris Rock special, and I'm like, you got Gentiles and you got Goyim. It's like Gentiles go to church. Gentiles invent shit. Gentiles invented chemistry. Then you got Goyim. Goyim are wearing Crocs. Goyim are driving drunk and crashing into trees, wrapping around trees. Goyim do not give a shit. I don't want to live around Goyim. Goyim can't even read. Goyim are saying compartmentalize. Goyim are saying posthumous.
Posthumous.
So I feel like the Ankh, and I'm just like shaking my damn head at these fuck nigga Goyim. You know, like pull up your pants, man. Damn, this is why the Jews run our lives. I want Goyim to be respectable. You know, I'm like the William Booker. What was his name? Booker something. Booker Washington. I'm like the Booker Washington
the Booker T.
of
Washington.
Goyim, you know. I want everybody to just be educated and improve themselves. Stop, you know. Anyway, but that's that. Fuentes.store, check it out. We got the hats. We got, you know, if you don't like the quarter zip, fine. Just get the hat instead. Get the hoodies. It's all there, America First. Subscribe to the website, AmericaFirst.plus. If you want to support us, best way to support is subscribe, AmericaFirst.plus. $15 a month. You get access to the archive, everything I've ever done in MP3 format as well. $100 a month, you get to be in a group chat with me. I'm hanging out in there. We are venting about the Goyim. You know, we're talking all the dirty little stuff that goes on behind the scenes. AmericaFirst.plus, check it out. Okay, with that, we're going to dive into the show. So, of course, our first story here, we're going to get right into it with these Epstein files. I have to tell you, it has really been annoying, okay? I'm just being honest. I'm going to give you my honest feelings as I always do. I have seen nothing but slop, pure slop for the past like 5 days, and I'm at my limit. It's all the same people posting all the same garbage, and it's just engagement bait. It's literally just the same people farming the engagement. And it's just people posting like, they call us Goyim. Can you believe that? Just like vague, rage bait, you know, slop content because of Twitter revenue sharing.
Gross.
Just vague government distrust, vague anti-Semitic content. And I'm just at my limit with all of it. I think it's self-serving. I think it's self-interested. And we have to be very honest. There was a time when the people who talked about Epstein or Holocaust revisionism or 9/11, these were very intelligent people, academics, experts, and they were penalized for what they did. I think about guys like David Irving. David Irving is a world-class historian. He knows multiple languages. He reads primary source material. He's written dozens of books. He's brilliant. And he is currently elderly and sick and broke because his entire career was destroyed for speaking out, speaking the truth in
Just
the
for
80s,
pointing
90s,
out
and
shit.
2000s.
Pointing out
I think about a
obvious
guy like
discrepancy.
Chris Bolin, who's a 9/11 expert. Same story. And there are others too. I think about Kevin McDonald. I think about Whitney Webb. People that have been interested in this stuff for a very long time. They're very intelligent. They've done the homework. They've researched this stuff. And in the early days of the internet, launched websites and uploaded all of it. And these were tireless warriors for the truth. And really, they were nerds. They were people that were very concerned with whether what they were saying was true or not. Conducted interviews, did independent research, read the reports, submitted FOIA requests, all that stuff. We got to be honest. Now, it is popular, it is mainstream, it is acceptable, and you could say it is being incentivized on the social platforms. And now there's just a glut of this stuff. And it's not particularly insightful or original or profound or funny or even in many cases true. You just have a brigade of people on the internet, on
Jackasses.
Twitter in particular, that ever since about a year ago, they just log on and post the same garbage every day. And it is very self indulgent. I think it's very self serving. I question the motivations of it. Like I said, it's not edifying. It's not profound. It's not original. It's not factual,
Hateful for
even. They're
hate's
not
sake.
posting information or data. It's just a lot of crap. And so it's people posting things like, Hitler would have killed these pedophiles. And you go, okay, so you want to meddle because you hate pedophiles? Everyone hates pedophiles. It's stuff like kidnap Maduro. We should have kidnapped Netanyahu. It's like, how many times can we tweet stuff like this? How many ways can we retool this formula and just post the same kind of stuff every single day? Oh, it should have been Israel. I wish the government cared as much about the people as they do about the Epstein files. It's just that kind of stuff over and over. And this weekend was an explosion in this kind of stuff. And on top of it, you have people that alongside this are also committing the other cardinal sin, which is, and this is what my show is about tonight, just straight up lying about the information. So as you know, last week, at long last, a major tranche of Epstein files was released, 3 million files. And all this stuff hit the DOJ website all at once, and people started looking through it using
Bro, this Epstein stuff is so dark. So dark. Beyond anything people were even, talking about conspiratorially.
AI and other tools, and they started looking at all these documents, emails and FBI tips and photos and all kinds of things. And as soon as the FBI files went up, this stuff immediately started finding its way all over social media. And let's talk a little bit first about Epstein. And like I said earlier about these two Epsteins. So you have the Epstein that we know about, who was convicted in the late 2000s of sex trafficking and specifically procuring underage girls for the purpose of sex trafficking, who was then given a sweetheart plea deal negotiated by Alan Dershowitz, high-profile Jewish attorney, and
Dersh,
Alex
as he's
Acosta, who was a Trump labor secretary later on. And the sweetheart plea deal had him only serving a little bit more than a year in prison for what was widely considered to be a very severe crime, a massive and widespread blackmail ring, potentially, but certainly sex trafficking, in particular of hundreds, maybe thousands of underage girls. They say he got a slap on the wrist. And the reason being is because he was protected by intelligence.
That he was
He had a
protected
strange
by intelligence. He was protected by the leaders of the world, basically the aristocracy, the globalist aristocracy, because he was their go-between. He was the go-between, but for Narendra Modi and Benjamin Netanyahu and Narendra Modi and Trump. I mean, that's why he didn't get a sweetheart deal because he's special in America. He would have got that deal in Russia. I mean, he was middlemaning everything.
Nobody really knows who he is, where he came from, how he made his money. Somehow he's extremely connected and very rich. Got busted and caught red-handed, somehow was able to evade persecution. They didn't throw the book at him, and he made it out. Well, they came back at him with even more charges later on. He mysteriously dies in prison. People speculate he was killed to cover up the secrets that he held. And in other words, he might rat on all of his clients, all the people he was involved with in order to get off the hook in his prosecution. That's the story that we know about Jeffrey Epstein. And so to put it succinctly, the idea was he's got a private island, a private plane. He's trafficking thousands of underage girls. He's working for the Israelis. He's trafficking these underage
Working for
girls.
everybody.
He was put in a position to do this by wealthy financiers and other connectors
The
so
Jews
that he
just so
could get
happen to
powerful
be up
people
top everywhere.
compromised on tape, having sex with minors so that he can be their handler on behalf of the state of Israel. This is what is claimed by Epstein, or rather about Epstein. Now let's talk about what is in these files. This is why for many years there was a popular call for all these files that were held by the DOJ and the FBI to be released. Because people said only when we see the true breadth and depth of the DOJ's investigation will we learn the true nature of this criminal enterprise. Only then will we know the names of the accomplices, will we know the names of those that were compromised and who their handlers were and who was orchestrating all of this. This was the call. Release those files, and then we will learn the true secret of our government and how things really work in the power structure. Okay, well, they released these 3 million files that everybody wanted, that everybody was clamoring for. And let's be very honest. Let's be brutally honest here about the files. There is no smoking gun. Just isn't. We have emails, we have photos, we have a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff in there that's pretty damning. And there's a lot of stuff in there that's suspicious.
And it's all allegedly.
And stuff in there that is, there's some
evidence.
wild claims that are made in the files. But if you believe that the Israeli government is directing Epstein to traffic minors, to get powerful people blackmailed and then hold this over them, you just don't find a lot of explicit talk of this in the files. Is there even one email? Is there even one correspondence?
I don't think he was.
Where Epstein is talking to his handler about, we blackmailed this guy. Is there any mention of blackmail?
I think he was
just
a depraved individual.
Is there any mention of someone being compromised on a tape? Is there any mention of any of that? Not really. No smoking gun. Have we learned through any explicit, detailed material, anything direct inside the files, which government was really controlling him? Or who he was controlling, or what he got them to do? It's not in there. It just isn't. What is in the files is a lot of vague innuendo.
Pizza
there
and
is
grape
vague
soda.
Talk
What the fuck?
of sex tapes. And there is some Pizzagate-like lingo, coded language, which is certainly disturbing.
Yeah,
and there's correspondences with powerful people.
Howard
and
Stern
there's innuendo about being
shit.
part of Mossad.
There's some awful
And there
people.
are some pretty extreme allegations. But there just isn't any smoking gun. If you're looking for it, you're not going to find it in here.
You know who the scumbags
Now,
are.
perfectly reasonable explanation for this. If Epstein really is a super spy, why would you expect to find this in the files? Either it was never written down, it was never put in writing, or if it was destroyed. And the evidence certainly has been tampered with. Because Epstein was originally charged in 2006. That's 20 years ago. So is it plausible that the evidence has been destroyed or tampered with over the course of 20 years? Absolutely. You have to assume that it was. Epstein was charged again in 2019. It's 2026. So 6 years have passed since he died. 20 years have passed since he was originally charged. And there are high-profile reports that Epstein's people got to these tapes, got to the island, the Manhattan townhouse before the FBI did. We could also imagine, again, as I said, that maybe all the evidence never found its way into a written correspondence. So there's a plausible explanation for this. But what does that mean? What does that imply for our conclusions about the Epstein files? We have to take all this information, and we can't look at it as the end-all, be-all. We can't look at all these files and say, okay, this is it. This is the proof, because if that's your proof, it's pretty shaky. It's not great. You're building a house on sand because there's nothing really solid in here. People point to an email where Epstein said, I love that torture video.
Yeah, that was fucking creepy.
I'm sorry, but that could mean anything.
Shit.
And some people might say, huh, it's very clear. It really isn't.
Delane said something
Epstein was a
about
degenerate, okay? He had books about
Elaine said something where she was like, I can't do this. This is. She said, that she didn't, she didn't like the sight of blood or something along those lines, and that she didn't want to see that kind of stuff. Like they were getting too graphic.
sadomasochism. He was clearly a sex addict, clearly had a lot of eclectic and eccentric tastes and interests.
He attracted other
And
people.
without context, we don't know who he's talking to. We don't know what the email he's replying to said. That's the sort of evidence that passes on Twitter. You have one email. I like the torture video. Obviously,
But you can't.
given what Epstein is involved in, it's suggestive. And certainly one possibility is he is saying this is he's
Anybody else noticed how this basically looks exactly like the Hunter Biden laptop evidence? He was the same guy that Hunter Biden was or is. He was a middleman. He was he was the go-between for crooked, shady, criminal government deals and private deals and financial opportunities.
flying to a video of the torture,
He was
probably
basically
of
a
someone
second Hunter
underage and blah, blah,
Biden
blah. It's a possibility,
for the rest of the
but it's
world.
inconclusive. I mean, we really don't know. It's ambiguous, it's suggestive. And the Epstein files are filled with this. There's another exchange with Ehud Barak
Yeah.
where he says, make sure to tell the Qataris that we're negotiating with that I'm not Mossad.
Or how
And
about
Barak says,
Steve Bannon
who?
was
That
dealing
I'm
with
not
this
Mossad
guy?
or you're not Mossad? And Epstein says, tell them I'm not Mossad. Again, that is suggestive, but it's not conclusive. It's not really evidence. It's ambiguous. Now, you can read into that what you'd like to see. You could read into all of this what you'd like to see, but it doesn't really corroborate anything. And if you're trying to make the case about Epstein, you're going to be found wanting. And this is sort of my problem with the Epstein literature. The more that you look into these more exaggerated claims, the more you realize there isn't a ton of evidence for it. You can watch a Daryl Cooper interview with Tucker. You can read the Whitney Webb book. You can read through the DOJ memo, the charging document in 2006. You could read through the DOJ memo from this document dump last week. There's just not a lot of there. There's not really a smoking gun. If what you're looking for is the blueprint for, Evil Island, where the politicians are doing demonic rituals and sacrifices and pedophilia for, the cabal of Satanists and whatever, it's not in there. You're not going to find it. And this is why people are they're really scouring the emails for anything that looks shady, taking things that are pretty vague and ambiguous. They're embellishing these things. They're reading into it what they'd like to see, but which really isn't actually there. And then they're passing it off as established fact, and then using that then to form a theory. So they'll take the email that says torture video, and they're saying, well, clearly he was talking about a video of torturing a child and probably dismembering them. Like, that's not in there, but
Yeah.
they have taken something that they found. It says torture. Okay, so we scoured the evidence, cherry picked what we like. Then we read into it the worst possible interpretation. Then we're extrapolating out that he is dismembering and torturing people for the devil, and then passing that off as though it's a fact and building this theory that he was this really like a boogeyman-like figure. And that, I think, is problematic. I think you're going to find that that is actually not convincing. Here is what you can say about the Epstein files based on what we have seen. And I said this on Friday, and I said this on Twitter. What we can conclude from the Epstein files is that the Epstein files are incomplete. Obviously, they are redacted. We don't have all the names. We don't have all the information, and half of them weren't even released. We can also conclude something was going on there. Obviously, something was going on that island. Epstein was involved in some capacity. He was not just a tax genius. He was something more.
Yeah, and any financial opportunities that popped up all over the world, he would get alerted. Somebody would just send him an email, to oh, hey, you could snag this. and they were all bribes, basically ways to get him to set up meetings between Putin, this person, and Modi and that person. That's what it was, you know. And I mean, he even he was doing deals with that I think it was Norwegian, the guy who's the president of the WEF right now. And you can see in the emails how this WEF was set up, basically to be a second UN that pushed a China like social policy, shows social credit scores. I mean, straight up, it's in the emails.
The only sensible thing to say about the files is that the FBI must reopen the investigation. The DOJ must reopen the investigation. Because, and here's the thing, the American public deserves
We do.
transparency. It's our right to see the files. This concerns our elites. This concerns our government. This concerns powerful people. It is the right of the American public to see this stuff. With that being said, you're only really supposed to believe none of what you hear, half of what you see.
They love
We
their
don't
island.
really know
Yeah.
what's going on here. So much of it is incomplete, inconclusive, ambiguous. These are 20-year-old files, and we're only seeing something that we're being shown. And we really have no power to follow up. We don't have subpoena power like Congress does. We can't call a subcommittee, you and I. We don't have the power to go to a judge and get a warrant. We can't compel anybody to have an interview. We can't charge people. That's the FBI's job. That's the DOJ's job. And so, for me, what is very clear is what must happen next. Okay, so there's no smoking gun here. And as I said on Friday, the files ask more questions than they answer. They create more questions than they actually answer. We don't really have any clearer picture of what's happening than we did 2 weeks ago. What we do have, though, are leads. We have names. We have some idea of what's going on. Now it's the DOJ's job to actually follow the lead. There should now be a mandate for the
I think the
DOJ
guy's
and for
name
the
is
FBI
Berg.
to actually investigate the people that are named and some of the claims that are made inside the files, whether that's Trump or George W. Bush or Bill Gates, Howard Lutnick. All these people need to be investigated. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is the beginning, not the end. And it's the FBI's job and the DOJ's job, not our job. And it's not to say that we shouldn't investigate and ask questions. We should, but we should recognize the limits of it and not get carried away. Because here's sort of the problem. I see what is happening, which is that people have turned this Epstein thing into like, that is the skeleton key. Once we have the Epstein files, everything will be answered. Well, that clearly didn't happen. Now, if your whole theory and worldview is resting on these files that prove everything, you're going to be found wanting. You're going to actually
Yeah.
look stupid. If 2 weeks ago you were saying, well, just wait until the Epstein files come out, then we'll know that Israel's really doing it with blackmail and they did it on the island, there's not a lot there in the files. So if you're resting your whole case on that, it's going to be weak. And I think actually what the file dump does is it sucks a lot of the energy out of it. People look at this and they go, yeah, there's nothing really there.
There is a lot there.
And they
You
turn
just
and
have
they
to
say, well,
look.
what can we do? The files got released, now what?
There's
Here's
no
what has to happen
explicit,
next. These
"Oh,
are
we just
leads that the
raped these
DOJ and
girls."
the FBI needs to follow and get to the bottom
Bad
of.
shit.
With that being said, I want to get into some of these falsehoods and this idea of what we know about Epstein, what is in the files and what is not in the files. So as I said at the top of the show, you sort of have these two different pictures of Epstein, and they tell us different things about the world and how conspiracy theorists think about the world. As I said, there was one picture of Epstein, which to me is very grounded and very realistic. It sees him as a human being, and in the context of the wider world, it tells us a lot about how the United States works. And I told you at the top, Epstein is a Jew from a Jewish neighborhood. He got his fortune mysteriously from Jewish financiers.
They set him up.
Why?
They,
No
you know,
one
put him in that
knows.
position.
They just gave him hundreds of millions of
They
dollars.
just needed a
Two
guy
Jewish
to be a Jewish
financiers by the name of
go-between.
Leon Black and Les Wexner gave Epstein $500 million and a house and a jet and an island and a company. Why? They say because he had a great personality, because he was such a great guy.
But you see him in videos, he
Now,
just
what
seemed like a
that looks
regular
like
moron,
is that
regular
Epstein
Larry.
was an intelligence operative. Okay. Nobody's giving anybody $500 million because they like the cut of their jib. You give somebody $500 million if you are working with Israel and that person is working with Israel and they need capital to do their job. That's what a spy looks like. That is what a mercenary looks like. That's what a fixer looks like.
Yeah,
That's
he
like
was
a
a
Better
fixer.
Call Saul type figure.
Absolutely.
That is an
Fixer.
intermediary. That's a go-between. That is someone who can be whatever they need to be for
Exactly.
their state sponsor.
Exactly. And that's what kind of the gist that I got is this guy is it doesn't matter like all the particulars and all the details. He was just a guy, you know, an amorphous kind of a ditto that they could just stick in that position, and the guy would match whatever, you know, they needed him to do. He would be able to do it. You know, he would have the skills or whatever because they had him doing a whole variety of different things.
And so Epstein, being a Jew from a Jewish neighborhood, involved with the intelligence agencies, receiving this fortune from Jewish millionaires that are in bed with Israel, he sets up the sex trafficking ring with all these celebrities, government officials, financiers, bankers, etc. And he's getting into some weird stuff with these people. He gets charged, he gets convicted. What does this tell us about the way the world works? Well, it tells us an awful lot
Money
about
by
organized Jewry in America, which is that Jews identify as Jewish. They have an allegiance to Israel, which sometimes goes to the level of cooperation with their government as a spy. They represent something like a fifth column.
pretty much.
And they will do these things. Powerful Jewish billionaires work with Israel to help Israeli spies. And these Israeli spies get in all the rooms where decisions are being made.
Yep.
And they have leverage over the decision makers. And so that is how Jews in Israel can exert influence and control over decisions being made in America, in Europe, in the Middle East, all over the world. It tells us something about the world that Epstein is basically a Jewish operative. But then you have this other story where people are saying that no, Epstein was not grooming 14 to 17-year-olds, underage girls, so that he could solicit blackmail material. Rather, he was actually a pedophile.
Stupid.
And he was into actual children, prepubescent children. And why was he into something so heinous? Because he is a truly wicked person. Totally irredeemable, not accessible at all. This is just diabolical evil. And so is everybody he knew. And not only were they raping violently the youngest children, but they were doing it part of their satanic religion. And as a matter of fact, they weren't involved with Israel. They are involved in some kind of satanic cabal that runs the world and all this kind of stuff. Now, these are two different Epsteins, and these are two very different conspiracies, two different pictures of the world. One is a story about Jews in the world. This is a group of people. They're very tribal. They're human. They're human beings like you and I. And as a group, they have a certain consciousness. They're a minority. They have this chip on their shoulder. They've been threatened in the past.
Yeah, and
By
they're
Hitler
special.
and by the Catholic monarchs and by other
We're all
groups.
cattle, and
And
they're
so they're very defensive. They have a siege
the
mentality.
divine beings
They're
that
also smart and
occupy the world.
crafty. They have a stick-to-itiveness, or rather a stick-togetherness. And so when they get into a society, they tend to operate like an organism. They help each other. They work together.
They give each other legs
and
up.
they have this disdain for the native population and inward loyalty. They sort of help each other rise up the ladder and then exert all this influence. That's how the world works. This is about human beings. Human
Absolutely.
beings and temptation and power and loyalty and tribalism.
You know, we deal with these people at our own peril because a Jewish American, they're going to side with a Jewish, an Israeli Jewish person before they would with their own countrymen. They're going to side with a French Jew before they side with an American. And it goes that way with everything. They side with their people. Those are their people. We aren't. Their countrymen, that doesn't mean anything to them. As far as they're concerned, they don't belong to a country and no country belongs to
Our
them.
story is a story about magic and about unseen things, and it's a story about things that are not really provable and these sort of fantastical ideas. True demons walking among us, people that we could never understand because they're so heinous for the sake of being heinous, and the rest of it. Well, I want to point to some pieces of evidence for the latter that people found in the Epstein files that were totally debunked. I saw this on Twitter. So here's one piece of evidence to support the latter theory. People are going through the 3 million files, and somebody found what appeared to be a document that said that Epstein made a bank transfer to an entity named Baal, Baal. And there's a document in the Epstein files that says that Epstein gave $11,000 to Baal, which happens to be the name of a demon, a Middle Eastern deity named in the Old Testament, and which was worshipped by Middle Eastern pagans and these ancient religions. They said that Epstein gave money to Baal. He named an entity after Baal. Why? Because he's a devil worshiper. Why would he be transferring money to this entity? Well, he made it. He named it after a demon because he's a demon worshiper. And everything he did was in the name of the devil, in the name of Baal. Just one problem with this. Totally fake. There is a document in the files that says Baal, but that is only because it was scanned by a scanning machine. The original file, the actual physical file, said bank name. But because the ink on the original file was smudged, when it was scanned and then transcribed, it perceived the N and the K as an A and an L. Now, if you actually read the entire document, it was very clear from context clues that it said bank name. It was very obvious because it said bank name : Wallovia Bank. But people didn't care. They didn't look at the context. They didn't look at the actual document. They just said Baal. And even though that didn't even really make sense in context, they found what they were looking for, took that, read into it that it was demon worship. Then they pushed that as an established fact and extrapolated out that he must be a devil worshiper. I will show it to you on the screen right now. This is from Yahoo News. We have this advertisement here we can't get rid of. I'm going to pull it up for you. Fact check.
Oh, I've
No,
never seen him do
Baal
this.
bank account and Epstein bank transfer document to JP Morgan is a scanning error.
I literally never seen him
Does
do
a
that.
document in the Epstein files show he had a bank
Minimize
account named
his
Baal?
camera.
A demonic figure? No, that's not true. So this, I'll zoom in. Video. But this is in the Epstein
What the
file.
hell?
And 1 million people plus, because there's other tweets,
Shit.
1 million plus people, which is people did a keyword search out of 3 million documents. They found what they were looking for. Ah, there it is. They found the document. Did they do their due diligence? Did they read the document? Did they think in terms of what is most likely the explanation or the context? No. They said, found what I'm looking for. It says Baal. Here it is. Took something that is ambiguous, passed it off as an established fact. See, he had an entity named Baal, and then extrapolated out, oh, if he named an entity Baal, well, he's a Satanist. Therefore, this is all a satanic blah, blah. It's all for the demons.
Hate this.
So where's the accountability?
This misdirection.
How many people posted this and it wasn't true? Fake news. Now, people would say, you're running cover for Epstein. You're defending him. Why are you defending him? I'm not. But we have to be guided by the truth. If you posted this, you were wrong. This is not evidence. We cannot draw conclusions based on faulty premises, based on faulty evidence, based on things that are provably not real. Here's another one. This is Ryan Dawson. So Ryan Dawson posts a picture of me wearing the Epstein quarter zip, Epstein wearing the quarter zip, and then he posts these photos, forgive me, they're graphic.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't even know
this
that
little girl
Epstein
with
wore
Epstein and the same little girl tied up. And you might look at that and say, wow, that is really fucked up. 1.2 million views, 36,000 likes. Okay, just one problem. This image is fake. Did you know that? This image on the bottom right is an AI edited image. That's a fake photo. How do we know that? Because that is an image. I'll show you this one. This is the original image on the left.
Wow.
And again, I apologize. It's graphic. I don't want to be showing you this. This is a boy named Johnny Ghosh. He was kidnapped in the 90s.
The fuck?
And there's a documentary about it on Netflix. It's called Finding Johnny or Where's Johnny, something like that.
Unserious.
And it's a long story, but
Disgusting.
this little boy was kidnapped in the 80s. They were looking for him for 10 years. Somebody sent this photo to the victim's mother. Nobody knows to this day if that's the missing child or if it's somebody else. This is a 30-year-old photo. This is a different photo. This photo has existed on the internet for 10 years. It's the same photo.
Man.
It's in
What's
a
wrong with
Netflix
people?
documentary. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. It's on blogs going back 10 years. The original goes back 25 years. It's an old photo. This is fake. So he saw this. Oh, here he is with her. Now there's this picture, and it even looks fake. The hair doesn't look real. None of it looks real. That's because this is the original, and you could see wooden slats here. I mean, it's identical. The way the arm is shaped. This is the original.
Wrinkles in the
This is
bed.
edited. And this photo's been passed around for 20 years. Totally fake. But no one's going to know. 1.2 million views, 36,000 likes.
Jesus.
It's not cool or funny. Look at this. That's another one. How about this?
Fuck
Your
the-
third example. Another one. This one has 1 million views, 1.2 million views, 32,000 likes. Just in. Epstein tied young girls aged 11 to 13, spread out on the floor, burned them with a magnifying glass. That sounds weird.
That sounds ridiculous.
Tied 11 to 13-year-olds to the grass.
Stupid.
And then used a magnifying glass to amplify the sun to burn them.
Focus.
This is one of the complaints. And I'll read it to you if you can't read it yourself. This is a tip to the FBI. It says, residential number called the FBI National Threat Operation to report a viral video of what appears to be Jeffrey Epstein torturing a young woman with a magnifying glass. Martin provided the following information. Martin sent
absurd.
a piece of a video of what appeared to be a young white female aged 11 to 13 with dark-colored hair tied down and naked. The victim is tied to the ground and spread eagle with a man who appears to be Jeff Epstein holding a magnifying glass and burning the victim. Martin described the video as being blurry. However, the male subject appeared to be a very large man with gray hair wearing jeans, a short-sleeved black shirt, and white tennis shoes. Martin stated Facebook would not take the video down. In the frame of the video, it says Epstein. However, the video is blurry. Here's another one. An open source query of Epstein and magnifying glass video resolved to a tweet from December 9, 2019 of a picture of what appears to be an adult woman naked, tied down and gagged, lying on the grass. The woman has multiple magnifying glasses on her body. The male subject in the video is wearing jeans, t-shirt, tennis shoes. You get the idea. Well, here's a proposed community note. I'll read this one to you. It says, the depicted scene is from a BDSM pornography video titled Drea Morgan Stakeout Under Glass, featuring adult performer Drea Morgan, not from Jeff Epstein's files or involving minors. Now, I'm not going to show you a pornography video tonight, but if you Google Drea Morgan stakeout under glass, you will see a porn video. I searched it myself. You will see a porn video of a porn star. It's like a BDSM video of a girl naked in the grass, tied up, and a man is like burning her with a magnifying glass. It's just porn. It's just a regular porn. And I'm not saying like that's great or something, but it's just a porn video. But this is in the Epstein file. And
Certainly
a
isn't
million
murder.
people plus, because there's other tweets, a million plus people are seeing this. Epstein just tying girls to the grass. They're 11 years old. He's using a magnifying glass to torture them. It's a porn video. It's not Epstein. It's not a kid. It's just a porn video that some idiot saw on Facebook and sent to the FBI and said, I think I found an Epstein file. Fake, totally fake. Here's another one. This is one you've seen floating around. This is Ryan Dawson. He says, she's 18, quote, Nick Fuentes, and then he shows this picture.
What's that supposed to mean?
Now, this is just a picture of Jeff
It's
Epstein
just
with
a
a
picture.
little girl in his lap and a guy.
Oh my God,
Well,
this
what's
stuff
the
has to
implication
stop.
to the 2.3
Oh, he
million
sat with a
people
girl
that
on
saw
his
it,
lap.
53,000 likes.
Dude.
Well, the implication
Low
is that this is a
IQ.
little child who is a rape victim.
No, she's a victim of sitting on a man's
my claim
lap.
is that the victims are age 14 to 17. That is what Epstein was into. That's not technically pedophilia. It is, strictly speaking, a different category.
What this looks like is there's so much information. People can implicate this guy into a million different things. You know, if all they have to do is find a photo of him with a girl in his vicinity, in his presence, and people assume that that girl is a victim of his, what does that say about people? What does that say about the public? Are they just a bunch of sheep or bots? Or, you know, what the hell is this?
He goes, oh, well, Nick says she's legal. Here's a picture of Epstein with clearly a prepubescent girl. Well, it would help to know who this guy is. Do you know who this person is? You might say, oh, he's one of Epstein's clients This man's name is Glenn Dubin. Okay, same guy. See this guy in the background? Same guy. That is his daughter. That is Jeffrey Epstein's goddaughter.
Exactly.
Jeffrey Epstein used to date this guy's wife.
It's ridiculous.
They're close friends. They do business together. This girl is this guy's daughter. She is Epstein's goddaughter. And here it is on Wikipedia.
It's like people are pretending
Okay.
this guy is this Satan-like figure, this Lucifer-like figure, and just you know, any girl that has come in contact with him has been, you know, her life has been destroyed. You know, she's just a small portion of what she used to be. She's been destroyed, turned into, you know, just a crying puddle of a person. It's cartoonish. That's what it is. It's cartoonish, and it's absurd, and they need to stop. It's not helping. It's not
He
doing
was
any
friends with
good.
Epstein. That was his goddaughter. So what do you think is happening here? Epstein certainly is a sex criminal, belongs in jail,
Yeah,
belongs
flooding
in
the
hell.
zone, absolutely. That's
But
what they're
is
doing.
every photo of him with a girl necessarily mean he's involved in sex in that photo? No, I don't think so. He's still a person with friends that have families. This is not evidence of anything. The only thing this is evidence of is that he spent an afternoon with his friend and his goddaughter. Okay? That's what is happening in this photo. But of course, the insinuation, oh, well, she's a rape victim. She's clearly not 18. You're making fake. And you've seen this everywhere. You've seen all of this stuff everywhere. This is all fake. The ball thing, fake. That picture of the tied up girl, demonstrably fake. It's AI edited. The magnifying glass hoax.
It's
It's a
all
porn
bullshit.
video. This is his goddaughter. He's with family. He's with a friend and a family friend. Now, here's another document. This I found interesting. You don't see any of the Epstein haters. Let's call them Epstein maximalists.
They're
You
just
don't
as
see any of
wrong
the
as
Epstein maximalists posting
the
this one.
Zionists trying to cover
This is
for
from
him.
Antunes. He says a girl presents a different narrative describing Jeffrey Epstein as an awesome man. She says she faked her ID to appear 18, claims every girl was comfortable and loved him. This is a
May have been true.
report from one of the victims.
He
I'll
may
read
have
it to you
been
because,
a
again, you
guy
can't
of
really read it,
the whole
and it's hard to
spectrum.
zoom in here. I'll see if I can zoom in, actually. It says, a friend of one of her friends couldn't tell you who this friend was. She said, would you like to make a couple dollars? Let's call her Jane Doe. Jane said, sure. She said, I know this Jeffrey, and I bring girls there, and he likes massages. She inquired about her age, and she said, make sure you tell him you're 18. Also stated she had a fake ID. She said, sometimes he likes topless massages, but you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You will make $200 in 30 minutes. Why were you worried about your age? She said, because I was underage and I was young, and I was pretty stupid, and I didn't want to get in trouble. She said she had a fake ID saying she was 18. Make sure you're 18. Jeffrey doesn't want underage girls. She gave Jeffrey Epstein her number, and after the first time, Jane communicated directly with Epstein. She said it was up there and then something, and went upstairs. She left after 5 minutes. The first time, Jane gave him a massage. So-and-so had said he liked topless massage. I heard you like topless massages, and he said, yeah, but you don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. But I said, okay, and I willingly took it off. Shoulder, back, and neck massage she provided to Epstein. They talked about her lifestyle and what Jeffrey Epstein did for a living.
Me personally, I don't buy that at all, because it's like I would either not want to get a massage, or I would want to, have sex with that person. I don't just want to look at a woman's breasts. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that I'd rather read a book. Like, seriously, that's a waste of my time. So I have a hard time believing that this could even be possible.
Epstein was fully clothed. He said to wait a second, that he was going to get on the massage table. He got undressed and put a towel around him. She didn't see anything. They always gave her the money. She paid so-and-so and so-and-so when they first walked in the door. Everybody always got paid $200. Epstein said he would like to see her again, and from what she remembers, Epstein asked her for my number, and she gave him her number. She was wearing a shirt and jeans. She started to do the massage. She said to Epstein she had heard he liked topless massages, and of course he thought she was 18. Epstein said, yeah, that he did prefer that. She said, okay, who wouldn't? She gave Epstein a topless massage. He never turned over during the first massage. She was called the next day, took a taxi to the residence. Epstein did not call her. Something would normally take a taxi if she did have her friends take her. Something. Once she had met Epstein, he was a very awesome guy, and she ended up giving him her number. She'd rather go to him on her own. Taxis paid for out of money that she made performing the massages. She used a bunch of different taxi companies. She was living somewhere. Second massage, she went there by herself. Epstein on his stomach, towel over him. She had her top off. He asked me he asked me the whole time, are you comfortable with me doing this? And she said, yes. He turned around. This was at the end of the massage. She said that their 30-minute massage, usually even shorter than that Epstein masturbated at the end of the massage. It was like 2 seconds.
Florida,
He didn't touch her, and she didn't touch him. He didn't want her to touch him. Actually, later on, she asked him. She would rub his chest, and she would massage him while he...
I actually want to, some dudes do eat dinner at a strip clubs. I've eaten lunch at a titty bar. They had a buffet at the one in town, and it's actually quite fire. Their lunch buffet. I've done that. But I guess I looked at the women because I was, was sitting down statically and didn't have anything else to do. But like, that was because I was hungry and I wanted the food, and it was pretty good. But like, I just don't get that. I guess maybe I'm
to
weird.
masturbate. He paid $200. Sometimes Epstein would, and sometimes she would pay The massage ended after he ejaculated, but he did not release every time. Sometimes he just wanted his feet massage or back massage. This is the second part. I don't know if I'll read the entire thing. It's kind of long. She never used a back massager. Yeah, I had a boyfriend. He was a jealous boy. He didn't care. Bring home the bacon. I would bring girls there when she was pregnant. Through a baby shower, he got me furniture and a rattle for my son. He sent her to bring me gifts for the baby. He asked if she had a boyfriend. We talked like friends in our life stories. He probably knew my whole story.
Didn't miss the
She told
thing.
Epstein she wanted to be a model, and Epstein said he would help her, 16 at the time. Epstein said, I will definitely take you and bring you up to New York because he had models there. She would always turn him down because I was 16. He asked a couple times. He said, I will bring you to New York or Brazil. We could try to fulfill your dreams. And she would always say no because I was young and I didn't want to screw up the 18 thing. After I had the baby, something changed. I was a bad girl. She totally changed. Brought girls 2 times after she had the baby. Epstein and her stopped talking. They each had their own lives. Yes, I was late on my rent. I asked him for like $300. He gave her $500. She can't remember if Epstein was in town or not, but he was not there. He went to Brazil. He had to come back with a whole bunch of bikinis. He gave her a bikini. He told her to choose one. The girl who died recommended a bikini from Epstein. She identified a telephone number. She went over there more than a couple times. She met her through one of some so-and-so's friends. Everybody loved Epstein. Every girl that I bought was fine with it. As far as I know, we all had fun there. We ate the food he gave, free bikinis, nothing about any cops. Hopefully Epstein doesn't find out our age. He always told them, and I told them, you don't have to do anything you're not comfortable. Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that. That was kind of weird. We were so young, and Epstein didn't know that the whole thing was shaken up. When I brought them there, I thought they were 18, 19, 20. A couple times I brought 16-year-olds, and they were scared to say they were 18. What if he finds out afterward? If he climaxed, they were shaken up. I would say it was okay, and they would say they weren't expecting that. He told Epstein they were comfortable with it. She was thinking, if anything, they were scared. Maybe they felt obligated. Usually the girls I brought one time wouldn't see them again. Approximately 30 girls taken, never any alcohol or drugs. When she was 16, she smoked pot. Jeffrey always made me feel so comfortable. I thought I was a big girl. I was 18. Everything changed in my life. I got a job. I just stopped. I didn't feel like it was right. She was a stay-at-home mom. She had a beautiful baby boy, worked at LA Fitness, Romeo's Pizza. She told me she wanted to stay home with my baby. She and her were friends, blah, blah, blah. I hope nothing happens to Jeffrey. He is an awesome man, and it is a shame that he has to go through this. I love him as a friend. He has done so much for me. Okay. Now look, here's the point. What is the point of reading through all this? Let me be very specific. Let me be very clear. Why am I doing this? People say, why am I reading through this? What is the point of all this? Let me be very clear. I am not trying to defend Jeffrey Epstein at all. I'm not trying to justify what he did. I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm not trying to exonerate him. My view on Jeffrey Epstein is that he is a hedonist and an evil man. And what he did was evil. But let's talk about what he did. He groomed teenage girls into erotic massages and in some cases sex. The ages were 14 to 17. Out of hundreds of interviews, thousands of potential victims, this is the age bracket that we get. This is what is proven. This is what is corroborated. This is still heinous. This is still an evil and a heinous crime.
But you know what that says to me? The guy just like really young, untouched, innocent, blank slate girls. That's what he liked. He didn't like women that had other guys and stuff like that. That's what that looks like to me. You know, that and we're talking about like a billionaire. This guy isn't constrained by normal social standards like we are. So he wants them at that extreme. I want them extremely young or young, you know, somewhat young or extremely young, but also extremely clean, untouched, it's you know, it's virgin ground, obviously. And that sounds to me that's what he was into. And you know, the guy had billions, so he could buy that.
Well, if it isn't obvious, because 14 to 17-year-old girls are vulnerable, especially if they come from a broken home, which almost all of them did. all had money problems, family problems. These are vulnerable young women from a poor socioeconomic background or a dysfunctional family. It's also their age. So women who are immature, psychologically vulnerable, already in a vulnerable position, are being manipulated. That's what that is. It's called grooming. And grooming is wrong for a reason. It's wrong because women have a hard time saying no, because women are naturally afraid because they're weak.
Well, and
Women are weaker,
they're
and
succumb
there's
to
all sorts
social
of
pressure.
biological and social reasons. Women don't like to say no, and women are very emotional and grow attached, especially young women. And so a young woman who gets turned on to this kind of life is manipulatable. Is she freely choosing? Not completely, because there is an asymmetry. An older person, a person of means, has an advantage over an immature younger person, a teenager, and a poor person. So Epstein is taking advantage, and that is abuse. These girls are losing their innocence. They're effectively becoming prostitutes for a pimp. And you could call this the lover boy method. Epstein, of course, is being very kind and generous and giving them money, but he is taking from them, taking their innocence.
Yeah.
It is exploitative.
It's not
He is
good.
exploiting them for their bodies, for their sex.
For
and
their
this
innocence.
is quite literally the selling your soul. It's the deal with the devil.
He's like the witches in Hocus
They're giving
Pocus.
up their innocence, giving up
He's
their purity, their
yeah.
chastity
He's taking
in
something
exchange
from
for
it's,
money.
God,
And they
that
think
shit
that
is
Epstein's their friend. He's not
so
their friend.
dark.
He's not a good guy. That's not a good person. That's a predator. That is somebody that is preying on vulnerable young women
this
that
guy
don't
is,
know any better.
This guy is like a
And he
Hocus
knows what he's
Pocus
doing.
witch.
Cynically and
So
hedonistically
sick.
manipulating them
So
that he could
sick.
use them for himself, for his friends. And that is heinous. That is a crime. And I
Truly
believe that he should be,
heinous.
if he were alive,
He should be
brought to justice.
murdered
And he was.
or dead for that. He should be
He got this plea
executed.
deal. That's really a political question, but they should have brought the whole weight of the law against him for victimizing hundreds and thousands of girls, effectively turning them out into prostitutes. No doubt about it. This is wrong. So I want to be very clear. My purpose here is not in any way, shape, or form to excuse it, moralize it, minimize it, justify it, rationalize it. It's not the purpose here. The purpose is to define it.
Yes, we're trying to get
to categorize it.
No more hazy, blurry spots.
Report to you the facts of what exactly this
I want to know what he did
what
and what he didn't do.
I'm trying to paint a picture for you.
What's real?
Of what this really is.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, it's the truth. And we need to know the truth of the matter if we want to gain understanding. And the facts of how this actually happens points towards the why. This is not a human interest story. At the end of the day, Epstein is not a subject of interest because he's a sex criminal. Unfortunately, in the world, there are a lot of sex criminals. Unfortunately, this happens all the time. OnlyFans is really in the same business as Jeffrey Epstein. All this stuff is in the pornography, you name it, casual hookups.
And he says OnlyFans, but we know what the deal is. He's talking about, these Jewish businessmen.
Much of it. Hollywood,
whether he realizes that's what he's talking
Jeffrey
about,
Epstein,
but
at the end of the day,
they're the ones that own all these companies.
Why are we interested in the story? It's not because a sex crime was committed. It's because a sex crime was committed by somebody who was probably an intelligence operative.
Yeah, that was doing it,
now,
for multiple reasons.
His mode, his method, the how, this is key to understanding the why. This is key to understanding what he was really doing. And so the reason that I bring all this information out, it is not to say Epstein didn't transfer money to Baal and, he didn't tie up this little girl and he didn't have sex with this little girl. Therefore, he's a good guy. Therefore, leave. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to be very precise and rigorous and truthful in how we evaluate this information. We have to be investigators. We have to use a forensic method. And so, no, I'm sorry, AI edited images and misleading information and transcription errors, that cannot be permitted into the wealth of evidence. That can't be admitted into the evidence locker. We have to look at what's actually there. And what we find when we look at the evidence is what is going on here is that Epstein was grooming teenagers. By all accounts, it was not violent. It was not physically coercive. That was not happening.
And really,
In 2006,
the
they
most
interviewed
heinous
hundreds of
things
witnesses,
aren't
thousands
violent
of potential
typically.
victims. They had people on the island, or rather, in Florida, in southern Florida, at his compound. There is no record of physical coercion. In other words, women weren't being beat up. They weren't being killed. They weren't. And again,
And that's
I'm not
low
saying
IQ
like, hey, it's not that
anyway.
bad. I'm saying that was not happening.
It's just
The
low
method
IQ
that
beating
Epstein
on
chose
people.
is that through Ghislaine Maxwell and through other women, and the reason why you work through women is because women are less threatening than men. If an older woman, even if she's 18, or if she's Ghislaine Maxwell's age, she's a little older down the line, if a woman approaches a younger girl and solicits her for a massage, it's easier for that woman to gain a young girl's trust.
Gain her
That's
confidence.
why Ghislaine Maxwell was an accomplice. That's what she was doing.
Absolutely.
And as Ghislaine Maxwell recruited girls, the girls were recruiting girls.
Yep.
Why?
That Ghislaine
Because
Maxwell
that
was
the
just
method.
Maxwell was just
they
a
were
paramour.
going to these down on their
a
luck,
madam.
vulnerable young women and telling them, hey, listen, we're going to go to this island. He's going to pay you $200. It's nothing weird. He's totally normal. And that's grooming. That's how that starts.
Yeah.
So they get him in. Epstein doesn't do anything weird. He's polite. He doesn't flash the girl, doesn't show the penis. He doesn't jack off at the end. First massage, normal. Here's your $200. We'll pay for your cab.
And they
See you
up
later.
the
And the
tempo.
girl says, wow.
They just turn
This
it up
guy's
every
connected to
time.
Victoria's Secret. He gave
Till
me
they have
expensive
them doing
bikini
wild
and
shit.
underwear. He paid for my food and my taxi. He gave me all, and in the 90s, that's a lot of money. $200 for a young girl.
Yeah.
She goes, wow, he's
And then they start
somebody.
feeling like they
This
owe
is
that person
maybe the most
something.
important person I know in
They
my
did
life.
so little for
I
the
can go
money.
places. So she comes back again. This time he shows his penis, Asked her to take her top off. She goes, oh,
And
okay,
you can
I'm
really
here. She
Get
feels
people to do awful stuff if you up the incrementally up the dosage or up the pressure. People will go far, man, way beyond what they would be comfortable with doing if you just outright ask them to do something the first time. Like after doing that, getting a massage from a woman 50 times and I'm sure you can imagine
deaded.
how heinous things
Pressured.
get.
This is the method. And then you have these girls that are hanging in and around the complex. And they go on the private jet. How's about we go on the island and come
Women
to New
love
York
this
and come
stuff
to
too.
Florida, whatever. And they're
As if it would be hard to
Epstein's
get the women
girlfriends
to
are part of
go
the
along.
harem, and then they're being shared. They're being trafficked, prostituted out for the other men. This seems to be the means. This is the method. Now, is he dismembering them and gutting them and eating the fecal matter out of their intestines for the devil?
Come on, dude.
I don't think so. No. By all accounts, I don't think that's what's happening. Because that is the other story. The other story from some of these other allegations is that Epstein and George W. Bush gutted a young girl and ate her intestines, and specifically
was
the
thinking the
fecal
same.
matter in her intestines. And they did that in a satanic ritual. Is that what's going on here? I don't see any evidence for that. Because of this faulty bank statement, because of these fake pictures, because of the FBI reports, FBI tips. Well, we've seen the tips. The tips are like, I saw a porn thumbnail. I think it's Epstein. It's a porn video. The evidence that he was a devil worshiper. It says bald name. It says bank name. It's a wire transfer. It says bank name, the name of the bank. So what's really going on here? Are people being dismembered and decapitated and, tortured to death in front of people and adrenochrome? Or does Epstein like younger girls? Age gap. It's distasteful. It's unethical. It's heinous. The means by which he's doing this is obviously wrong. But clearly that's his thing. And he wants young girls there. And he wants young girls there because then that's what makes, don't shoot the messenger here, but that's what makes a party. You know, when you go to a club, you get in for free if you have some hot young girls there. Obviously, you know, that's on the younger side. That's on the very younger side. It gets creepy at that point. But Epstein wants the mansion, wants the island to be filled with young girls because he's throwing these parties. And so when you see the emails that he's sending to these people, it's, hey, we have girls. Nobody over the age of 25, he says in one of the emails. We got girls. They're young. None of them over the age of 25. Now, is that
They're
an
the
invitation to
choicest
the
one.
fecal matter eating ritual? Or is that saying, hey, we got a cool party? We got hoes. We got bitches. That's the email. Hey, Howard Lutnick. Hey, Elon. Hey, so-and-so. Hey, come to the party. We got girls. Nobody over the age of 25. You can get laid here. We're on a tropical island. You can come and get laid. That's clearly the message. Now, if we understand what Epstein is, then we understand why he was doing this. Why was he trafficking the young girls? Because that is his in to these powerful
Yeah,
networks.
that's how he
That's
get.
his in.
They're the
If it
bait,
was just a
man.
matter of
That's how he
taste,
gets them
if
in the
this was
trap.
just a
That's how he gets
personal
them.
predilection
That's
that
what
he was
attracts
ashamed
them.
of or that he was hiding because it was illicit, maybe he would have kept it to himself. But clearly, there was a purpose behind this. Why did Les Wexner set him up with Victoria's Secret? Because that is how Epstein accessed these models. And these things always go hand in hand. Who controls prostitution? Organized crime. Organized crime controls prostitution. And if you control prostitution, you control the brothel. And that means you control the girls. And that means if a politician, if a banker is at your brothel, he's fucking one of your girls. And you have control over that girl. You have control over that girl that is this politician's girlfriend. That's the point. And that is really what Epstein is. That is our understanding of Epstein, is that the island, these various compounds that he had, these are effectively mob-run brothels. These are intelligence-run brothels. Victoria's Secret, that's your carrot. We
Yep.
want to get these young girls. How do we get them to do the massages?
We have these
How do we
young
get them?
girls.
Well,
We can get
offer them this
grown men to
glamorous life.
jump in.
I can introduce you. I can make you a model. You're a beautiful girl who's broke. I can make you a model. And then you understand this is really just like Harvey Weinstein.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, it's not to victim blame, but the girls
Play a
on some
part.
level, even though
They're
again,
in
they're
on
being
the
taken
game, the
advantage of, they're
scheme.
making a choice.
It's not like
They
they
aren't
don't
going to
realize they're the bait. It's not like they know the value of what they're giving up. You know, they absolutely know it. You know, and they're benefiting from this. And then when this guy gets caught for something, of course they say, "Oh, he did such and such to me." They don't want to be implicated in this crooked stuff. Come on.
place, taking the money, doing something they know is wrong. It is all very glamorous in the moment. And, you know, that was Harvey Weinstein too. I'll
Yep.
make you a movie star. You have to sleep with me. This is Epstein. I'll make you a model. You have to massage me. You have to massage this guy. You have to massage that guy. And the girls, again, they're being preyed upon. I do believe they are victims. But there's also an element of choice in there too. They're coming back. Let me take the money. Oh, this is a powerful guy. I do want to be a model. I'm chasing the dream. I'm just doing what it takes. Let's not be naive. This is human affairs. This is what happens in the course of society. Now, this is a reasonable picture of what Epstein is.
It is. This isn't
That is what Epstein
far-fetched.
is. Let's also talk about what is in the emails aside from this information. What is not in the files? You don't see a smoking gun. What is not in the files? The ball thing, some of these edited photographs, misleading stuff. You know what is in the files? Repeatedly and overtly and constantly? Epstein is always talking about Jews and Goyim.
And how much better they
It
are.
comes up over and over again. Goyim are ridiculous.
Yep.
Is it going to
Man.
be all Jews at the party? No. Goyim.
It sounds like what people think racist white people sound like. You know, like people don't actually talk like that. Not that I ever hear, but this is what people assume. Like that's how Jeffrey talks. a serious bigot.
In abundance, but it's okay. It's smart goyim. Jews are smart. They move money. Goyim toil with their hands. Goyim are made to serve. This is what is in the
It's
files. You
arrogant
know what is
shit,
not in the
man.
files? There's
Arrogant
not a lot
shit.
of talk of the occult. There's not a lot of rituals, not even really strictly speaking pedophilia. That's not really in the files. You know, all this, a lot of the stuff that is being pushed around is fake. I mean, it's literally just fabricated and it's being exaggerated and embellished. You know what is in the files? That Epstein was a Jew and he self-identified as a Jew and he wasn't religious. He didn't keep kosher. He was a complete degenerate hedonist. We don't even know that he was super pro-Israel. At least he didn't talk about it a ton. What we do know about the files is that he was extremely powerful, extremely connected.
Yeah, the
He
dude
knew
was
business leaders. He knew government officials in Israel, in the
he
UK,
he
in the
had
United States.
face-to-face deals
He knew
with
people at
Vladimir
JP
Putin.
Morgan. He knew people at Yale. He knew people in the
Yeah, this guy rubbed
cybersecurity industry.
elbows with
He knew people everywhere.
all
He
the
knew Reid
top
Hoffman,
dogs.
Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen. He knew all these guys. And he was a powerful Jew.
Big time.
He was a Jewish patriot. He had these attitudes about being Jewish.
Yep.
The Jews are better. The Jews work smarter. The Jews are smarter. The Jews get together and they want to be in the club. And that Goyim are stupid and Goyim are taken advantage of.
Well, it's kind of
And we
funny,
don't really like
you know, that he would think that they're better than everybody else. Well, that's subjective. What's better is subjective. To Jews, they're better. They think, why those people work with their hands when they could move money around? How stupid they are. Yeah, well, we would still be living in fucking grass huts if everybody thought like Mr. Epstein. We have phones and shit because people didn't think like Mr. Epstein. So really, that group of people, they're morons. They're stupid and they're just animals, really. We would still be living like Jesus lived. We would be living in sackcloth and shit if it were up to the Pharisees, more or less.
and the Goyim are different than us.
Thank
And
God.
Goyim are subhuman. Now, again, this paints a very, what do we have? Let's work with what we have. This paints a picture. Epstein, knowing what we know about him, well, let's just tell the story from the beginning. Epstein is somebody who was given $500 million by the Jewish financiers Leon Black at Apollo and Les Wexner at Victoria's Secret. These are both Jewish patriots for Israel. Leon Black and Les Wexner, they were responsible for most of Epstein's fortune. Those two alone accounted for more than $500 million of his net worth. They just gave him that money. They gave him a house. They gave him a jet. They gave him the island. They gave him his fortune. They say that Epstein was just a tax genius. They just say that they liked his personality. That's obviously a cover story.
Little bit.
There's a lot of people that are good at taxes. They're not worth
Seems
$1 billion.
that way to me.
You don't give them a house and a plane and an island. And there's a lot of people that are nice guys, funny guys. You don't give them $1 billion. So what is going on there? Well, it's quite obvious. Les Wexner and Leon Black have an inroad with Israel. They are probably Zionim. They are Jewish covert spies working under the IDF. Now, they may not be IDF agents, or rather Mossad agents or Shin Bet agents, but they are accomplices to Israeli intelligence. Israeli intelligence has their number and can call upon them to do things. They're working hand in glove with the Israeli state.
You know, they're intelligent people, but their arrogance.
And so occasionally the Israeli intelligence service needs to promote somebody inside the United States. Needs to get somebody in a particular room, in between, in the middle. How do they do that? Well, that guy needs to be Bruce Wayne. He needs to be a billionaire playboy philanthropist. So how do they do that? Well, they call up Les Wexner and Leon Black, the two pro-Israel Jews from the mega group, and they say, hey, give this guy $500 million. The money's all fungible. It's your stuff, but he's going to hold on to it. That's clearly what's going on. So Les Wexner owns Victoria's Secret. And this is where beautiful girls are looking for a career.
Yeah, well, it's the
If you're a
same as
drop dead
coin
gorgeous girl,
clipping.
you want to be a
They're
model.
just
Okay, what is the preeminent
parasitically feeding off the fruits of the collective. They're just shaving that little bit off the top. And it's enough so that this small, like 2% of the human population can live well.
modeling career? Victoria's Secret is a great place to start. So, this is where they start getting the girl. Again, it's all part of this machine. Epstein grooms the young girls, promising them this life of fame and fortune. They willingly go along. Now, they're being groomed and they're being manipulated, but they're going along with it. They're not being murdered and beaten up and so on. They're being bribed. And 14 to 17-year-old girls who want to make a career, want to make a name, are going in. Epstein's indulging himself and he's sharing in the harem with the powerful people. And this is how he either endears himself to powerful people, come to my island, we're having a crazy party with girls, or potentially how he blackmails them. Hey, Bill Gates, it'd be a shame if people found out you cheated on your wife. This is how they operate. Now, as
Pretty
we've
filthy.
said, Epstein is, I don't believe it's convincing that he's some occultist, devil worshiper who's gutting people and just is like a real sicko for the sake of being evil. He seems like somebody who is a Jewish patriot. And what does it tell us about our society? That somebody like this is able to rise through the ranks. This is how they talk when they get together. When J.P. Morgan and Andreessen Horowitz and the Israeli government and Goldman Sachs, when all these different groups get together and they talk over email, they joke and they kid and they are vulgar like the rest of us, but this is how they talk, like they're all in a big club. Are there going to be any stupid goyim at the party? Oh yeah, goyim in abundance, but it's okay, they're not dumb ones. I hope it's all Jews at the party. Jews are smarter than everybody. That's what this is, and that's what it tells us about our society. This tells us something about the structure of our society, that these are the types of people that are actually the power brokers.
They're
They
not
broker
woke.
influence. They broker
They use that. They
large
use
decisions.
woke to keep
And they
these
do it
fucking
by getting
morons
into the social circle of this upper stratum. They infiltrate the social circle of that highest percentile, and they go to the parties. And for example, Nelson Rockefeller helps Epstein get into the Trilateral Commission and Bilderberg and all these different supranational groups. And this is where he goes and hobnobs, rubs shoulders, gets numbers, shake hands. Hey, I'm Epstein. I'm a tax genius. Come to my island. Hey, I'm Epstein. I'm a Swiss bank account, offshore bank account expert. Come to my complex. And he's put in these rooms by his fellow Jews. He's not a tax genius. He's not actually a genius at anything. In his interview with Steve Bannon, he said Aristotle never wrote any books. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. People say the reason Jews are successful is because of their IQ. This guy was a fraud. So how did he make $500 million if he's a fraud? Because he was given a boost by his fellow Jew. They probably got a lift from their fellow Jews.
None of them
and
are
they
going to
all
suffer.
got that sponsorship once upon a time from
They will
Israel,
all
from
band
European
together
Jewry,
and
from
raise
the
that
Rothschilds, from
raise
the
them
Jewish
up.
elite in America. This is the game that is being played.
Benefit each.
And so Nelson Rockefeller and the Rothschild, I guess Rockefeller's not a Jew, but Rockefeller's involved with Jews. The Rothschilds, Les Wexner, Leon Black, Ehud Barak, all these people give him his fortune, his crib, his models, bring him to the rooms, bring him to the parties, and they are creating the security vulnerability. It's sort of like a back end.
It's a good way to put it.
They opened up a back end into America's elite so that Israel could get in. And his name is Jeffrey Epstein. And that's what this is. That's what's going on.
It is what this is.
And I believe that every effort to embellish
this guy was
story,
a mole.
and people are focusing on, there's emails about time travel. They're calling him a lizard. There's a
It's
story
so
about him
low
eating
IQ.
feces out of a girl's
That's some low
intestines.
IQ stuff right
The
there.
more that people fixate on that, the more they get away from the real story.
That
And the
stuff
real
was there
story is
for a
about how
reason.
all of this works. This is how
And
our
if you
society.
think that the people in power aren't behind the scenes, uh, 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 making sure that the more radical and insane time travel assertions are being raised to the top. I mean, they make sure that this is the stuff that goes viral, not the real stuff, the absurd shit that turns people away. That's why Nick, he's seeing that stuff. They're making sure that's what he sees. That they're making sure we all see that.
Works. And that's when you realize you cannot have Jewish people at the highest level. Because if you do, they will get Epstein's in the club. A Larry Ellison, a Les Wexner, a Miriam Adelson, a Sheldon Adelson, a Larry Fink. These people will get the Epstein in the club. They will get their guy in the club. They are a fifth column. They will do it for Israel. They will do it for their fellow Jew. And that's really what is happening in the elites, is the elites are very disorganized. You've got some left-wing white people, you've got some oil people, tech people, Wall Street people. You have all different kinds of people from all different regions and different ethnicities and from different factions and mobs. And then you have the Jews working as one. No loyalty other than to each other, putting their tentacles everywhere. That's really what Epstein represents. And I don't know, is that not exciting enough? Is that not sexy enough? We need to get into, he was into cloning and time travel. He was into some science experiments, that's true, some really raunchy stuff. But the essence of I think that betrays just a curiosity and amusement of certain types of elites. The real essence of political control is how he was elevated and then how he
Yes.
was used horizontally.
He was elevated and
That's the story.
being used
And
horizontally.
so
That's a good way of
for
putting
this,
it, because they brought him up to the top, and all he was an intermediary for the people up at the top. And he did he helped a lot of different countries and a lot of different people, but he did all of it on with Israel's interest in mind. He did everything so that there was a slight benefit to Israel, or they received a slight advantage. And that's why he was where he was, so that they could get their little cut. They could always get a little bit more of a benefit than everybody. They put him there to profit off of him, off of all the transactions.
of that, I am going to do a super show about this on Friday. Friday, we're going to map out all of it. We are going to talk about Leon
That's going to be
Black.
a
We're going to talk
fire
about
show.
Les Wexner. We're going to talk about Leon Black's son. We're going to talk about Peter Thiel. We are going to talk about we are going to break it down, the entire structure of the Epstein network, the mega group, his accomplices, his allies in the Trump administration, his allies in Israel on Friday. Friday's show is going to be a special. We are going to lift the veil on everything that is going on with that. The only way that we can counter all the nonsense about Epstein is to strip it all away and show you what is really going on with Epstein. So Friday, we're going to get into it. Like I said, we're going to break it down, map out all those connections, and I'll show you what's up. It's outside the scope of tonight's show, but Friday, I really want to show you what's going on. The last thing I want to reveal before we take a look at our super chats is this clip from Candace Owens. And this is what I'm talking about.
Nick's
if you think that I sound crazy right now, if you're not really understanding what I'm saying, I want to play this clip for you, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is Candace Owens' show on Jeffrey Epstein. This was from earlier today. And I'm going to pull it up on the screen so you can see it. Give me just one moment.
What is he defending?
Because I want you to see, this is the divide that I'm talking about.
And
we're going to back it up a little bit here. So this is from Candace Owens' show. Already has 1.1 million views, streamed 7 hours ago. She says, ball, ball so hard, like niggas in Paris. Ball so hard, she says. Again, debunked. So Candace does a whole show about Jeffrey Epstein, getting into it. Well, let's just listen to her take, and you'll see what I mean. I'll show you the difference here.
Around the Earth's cycles of death and rebirth. And so to make this extra clear to you, we are not in a war between monotheistic faiths. The people that we are fighting are effectively pagan gypsies who have been wearing the cloak of Judaism, I would say, since the fall of the missing Khazarian Empire. The Khazars
God, she's
were
a
a nomadic
fucking moron.
Turkic tribe who adopted Judaism in the 8th century. Now, Freud, this part is important. We're going to get to what's in Epstein's emails because, man.
Okay. Now, she's been saying this for years. She buries the lead. She doesn't like to say this a lot, I think, because it makes her look bad. But this is the other side. This is what I'm talking about. We'll play it again.
Are effectively pagan gypsies. So to make this extra clear to you, we are not in a war between monotheistic faiths.
So what is she saying is we're not in a war between Christians and Jews and Muslims. What are the monotheistic faiths? Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.
Abrahamic.
She says we are not in a war between Christians and Jews is really what she's saying there. Why doesn't she want to come right out and say that? Can you tell that she is being evasive there?
Got the call.
She's being suggestive. She's not saying, hey, guys, it's not about Jews. It's not about Christians and Jews. She says it's not a war of monotheistic faiths. Well, that's sort of like an evasive way to say it. That's sort of an indirect way of saying it. So it's not about Christians and Jews. What is it about?
The people that we are fighting are effectively pagan gypsies who have
But
been
never
wearing
mind
the
the fact
cloak
they call
of
us
Judaism, I
goyim
would
and
say,
everything
since the
is
fall
Jewish coded.
of the missing Khazarian
Stupid.
Empire. The Khazars
I like that one, Gilligan.
She's such a retard.
were a nomadic Turkic tribe who
A
adopted
nomadic Turkic
Gundans.
tribe. A nomadic Turkic tribe.
I can
You ever
literally
notice
see
how
her
she does
talking
that
like
with all of her sentences? It's like Candace Owens,
Yeah,
that's how she always talks.
her tempo and her
Everyone's saying Candace Owens,
It's
like she's
garbage.
always doing. It's always very theatrical.
it's very feminine.
Constant she's like hanging on her own every word. She loves the sound of her own voice. She's got to drag it out. She's hanging on the edge of her
I'm not
own
sure
every
why
single
people are
word.
talking about me like this.
Let's back it
It's-
up. I can't get
weird.
over the delivery.
Her delivery
A
is
nomadic Turkic tribe.
The Khazars were a nomadic Turkic tribe who adopted
Tribe.
Judaism in the 8th century. Now, Freud, this part is
Okay. So it's not a war between Christians and Jews, she says. We are fighting pagan gypsies. It's not Jews. It's not Judaism.
like it doesn't matter what you
Pagan
call it. We're still
gypsies.
it's the same thing.
The Khazarian mafia.
It's stupid. It's
Khazarian tribes from Central
getting hung
Asia.
up in the nomenclature.
Turkic tribes from Central Asia that went west. She says, that's the real problem, the Khazarians. And this is part of her
Splitting
her
hairs.
actually, I should say her wider view, which is that these Satanists, these pagan gypsies, in her view, they've infiltrated every religion. They've infiltrated Islam, they've infiltrated Judaism, they've infiltrated Christianity. She says, so not only is it not a battle between monotheistic religions, which are completely arbitrary. Christians, Jews, and Muslims are not fighting about the various truth claims and who really believes in the real God. She says, no, we're all really fighting this like a pagan gypsy thing, this dynasty that's been going on for 1,300 years. and they've infiltrated all the religions over many generations. They've kept it secret. They're pretending to be Jewish, but they're really not. They're wearing the cloak of Judaism. They're not really Jewish. They're pretending to be Jewish. This is they're pretending to be the other religions. Now, what is the implication? The implication is that to the extent that there are evil elites in the world,
They're not
it's
Jewish.
because they are part of this group. And this group does not know a particular ethnicity, a particular religion. No, it's just this like arbitrary Turkic group.
So
It's just this arbitrary steppe people, arbitrary Central Asian horse riders that 1,300 years ago just happened to become Jewish. All of a sudden, they just became Jewish, and then they went out and over 1,000 years climbed to the top of the ranks of every world religion. And if there's any rot or anything evil in any religion, any excess, it's because of them. And so what is the conclusion that we draw from that? It's that there's good Jews, good Muslims, good Christians, and we all have to team up against the bad Christians, bad Jews, bad Muslims. And this would speak to her alliance with Bassem Youssef and how she apologized to him for anti-Islam, Islamophobia, her embrace of Dave Smith and how she's always throwing that name out there. It's not all Jews. What about Dave Smith? And there's a word for that. It's called religious indifferentism. She thinks that all people of the book are good. Jews are good, Christians are good, Muslims are good. They all share core values. They're all good people. And to the extent that there's anything wrong, it's because they've been corrupted by some external force, this Khazarian mafia. So the argument goes, Candace and her Jewish producer, Candace and the Muslims have to all team up against these, satanic people that are not Jewish, but that are pretending to be Jewish, and against them, everything can be justified. It's not collective punishment. It's not a particular religion or ethnicity. It's this family that is voluntarily a part of this satanic cult, and we're all going to team up against them. And there's just nothing Christian about this, and it also happens not to be true. There is no basis in reality for this. The Khazarian mafia thing is a myth. Ashkenazi Jews don't have any Turkic DNA. Not real. On top of that, this was exposed a long time ago. Do you want to know why Jewish people came up with the Khazarian hypothesis? It's because if the so-called Jews of today are not really Jews of the gospel in the Old Testament, then what does that mean? What does that imply? It means that they did not kill Christ. They are not responsible for the death of God. That's what it does for them. If the Jews of today are not the biblical Jews, then they bear no responsibility for killing Christ. And up until very recently, that was the biggest and only charge against them, is that they committed deicide. They killed God. And that's what the gospel says. The blood is on your hands and all your descendants. Jesus was rejected by his own people, killed by his own people. Now, the Catholic interpretation is that the Pharisees then had their temple destroyed and were ejected from the Holy Land, and this was their punishment. And the persistent religion, which is called Judaism, is the continuation of that Pharisaical sect of Judaism. And they took what was an oral tradition and they transcribed it in the Mishnah in the 2nd century. The Jews have 613 commandments, which they learned in their schools and which they observed and debated. And that was their oral tradition when they were all in Israel, when they were all at the temple. But then when they were expelled, they had to write it down because they weren't all together. They didn't have that central place of worship. So they transcribed the commandments into the Mishnah. And then they transcribed their oral tradition, which is the disputations between the rabbis about the Mishnah. How do we apply the laws? Well, the rabbis debate them. These are called disputations, and these are written down in the Talmud, which they call the oral Torah. And there's different versions of it. There's a Babylonian Talmud, there's a Jerusalem Talmud. And over the centuries, the Talmud is compiled and edited and interpreted. And then you have the most comprehensive version is put out by Maimonides in the 12th century. And this also happens to be around the time when Jewish mysticism begins to emerge. And you get the Zohar, and you get these claims about another oral tradition about mysticism, an esoteric tradition, which they call Kabbalah. And they claim it goes back to the 2nd century. That's probably not true. This is what a Catholic would say. And we would say that the Jews and the Christians have been in a constant battle ever since the arrival of Christ. That Christ arrived, the Jews rejected him, and that was the beginning of their troubles. That was the beginning of their errors.
Not really.
They rejected him, and the story of the church.
Dude, the Jews had so many troubles. They freaking wandered in the desert for. This isn't the start of their troubles. It's just one in a series of troubles. Like, there's a reason why, they get this stuff happens to them.
Is how they will eventually be reconciled to Christ, how the prodigal son will eventually return. Well, if you say that they're Khazarians, then you break that chain. And now this is just a random group of people that happens to be evil. It doesn't even really make any sense. There's no Khazarian whistleblowers. For 1,300 years, there's no Khazarian whistleblower that says, hey, wait a second, we aren't really Jews. It's all fake. There's no whistleblower. For 1,300 years, they kept this conspiracy up, this random Turkic group. Nobody spilled. Nobody was defeated. They were never discovered. How did they pass it on from one generation to the next? Listen up, Sonny, we're devil worshipers. That's the way it's always going to be. None of the kids ever said, Dad, I want to not do this. 1,300 years. And now they say, well, it doesn't matter what religion you come from. There's good Jews, good Christians, good Muslims. We're all fighting this satanic thing. Well, you know what? Judaism is not good, actually, because it doesn't have Christ. How could it be good if it doesn't have Christ? See, now you're going against the Bible. Because the Bible says there is no path to the Father except through Christ. The Jews don't have Christ. How do they get to the Father? How does the Holy Spirit communicate with them if they have actually rejected the Son? It's not that they don't have him. They have obstinately and stubbornly rejected the Son. How do they have him? How do they have that? They don't. So she wants to preserve this idea that there is such a thing as a good Judaism. There is a good sect of Judaism. And therefore, the followers of Judaism are people that happen to be Jewish. Well, they're fine people too. And I would argue that as long as they're not Christians, they're never going to see the breadth of the problem. They're never going to see actually the depth of the issue here. And they're never going to know the truth. So I don't like this. This is like whenever people start getting into this occult stuff, they start to then, I think, neglect the uniqueness of Christianity. We don't believe that Christianity is one among other monotheistic religions. What are you even talking about? I don't even like that term. Monotheistic religions. It's like as if to say Christianity is one among other religions, like we're one out of three. So you got Judaism, you got Christianity, you got Islam. Let's be very clear. Judaism and Islam are heresies off of Christianity. Modern Judaism, properly understood, is a Christian heresy because these are Jews that said, oh, our Messiah didn't arrive yet. All these prophecies, they prophesize a Messiah that is yet to come. That's really like a Christian heresy. What they have developed since then is really the Christian religion, but perverted. The Jewish prophecies are fulfilled in Christ. The Jewish covenant is fulfilled in Christ. Now, they have taken that foundation and they forked it in a different direction. They have actually developed it. It's not like they have the Old Testament and we went in a different direction. They have the Old Testament. The Old Testament was fulfilled, and then they continued to refine and develop it with their rabbis and their disputations and their mystical tradition and the Kabbalah and the Sphirot and all that other stuff. That's a Christian heresy, and so is Islam. It was understood in the Middle Ages that Islam was a Christian heresy. They believed that Christ was the Messiah. They just believed that he wasn't the final prophet. There was another prophet. So these are all debates. These are all contentions about the Father and how he's interacting with human beings. According to the Jews, the Father has promised a Messiah who will not be equal with God. And that guy is not here yet. And according to Muslims, there's just the Father. There is no Trinity. He only speaks through prophets, and Muhammad was the perfect and final prophet. And so to say, oh, it's just this debate between monotheistic religions, the history of the world is the church militant. It's the church in the world fighting the devil, fighting ignorance, fighting for the spiritual kingdom to prevail on earth. And so for her to say, no, it's got nothing to do with these monotheistic religions. It has everything to do with them. It has everything to do with them. What is the impediment to the gospel spreading over the whole globe? Well, a big one is Islam. A big one is Judaism. Islam is an impediment to people accepting the gospel, which is the goal of Christianity. We are inherently in conflict and always have been. We were in conflict when Muslims invaded Europe. We're in conflict with Muslims now. We are also in conflict with Jews who have promulgated liberalism and communism and Zionism. And by the way, even if you look at the Jewish rabbis, they welcome the mass apostasy of Christians. Some of the most diehard, fanatical Jewish rabbis will tell you that they think the mass apostasy, which is to say everybody becoming atheist among Christians, they say that that is actually a necessary part of a dialectical process. They say first we need the Christians to stop believing in Christ. Once they are atheist, then they will accept the God of the Jews. Then they will accept Yahweh as their master and the Jews as their superior. The rabbi, his name is Kook, and him and his son are some of the most foremost rabbis in Israel since the creation of Israel. And this is what they say. They greet this as a dialectical development. They say first the Christians are Christian, then they're atheist, then they will worship us. Then they will recognize that we are the chosen. Okay? So it absolutely is a conflict between the monotheism. It's a conflict between the religion, Christianity, and these false religions that do not have the Christ. Islam does not have the Christ. Judaism does not have the Christ. They do not have the Savior. They do not have the fullness of God. They don't have the fullness of God's love in the sense of how they perceive God. Of course, everybody's loved by God, but that's not a part of their tradition. That's not a part of their system. So this is what I'm talking about. Yes, Epstein is a Jew, among other Jews related to Israel, and the Jews in Israel have their own messianic, eschatological, religious interpretation of their return to the land, their building of the temple. All of these developments, they all see them with a religious zeal. Netanyahu's in a coalition with people who believe in greater Israel. They think they're going to build Israel, build the temple, and the Messiah will then sit on the throne in the third temple. That's what they believe. And to that end, they are doing these things in America. On some level, to that end, they are doing it. And you see it like when he sought an apology from the Jews, who did he go to? Did he go to Jared Kushner, or did he go to some like super rabbi? Some super rabbi who is extremely pious in the Jewish faith, who is the godfather to all the celebrities. On some level, that is the agenda that's driving this. So yes, it is a conflict of religions. We are Rome, okay? We are Rome. We are Christians. We are Christendom. That's what Europe is. That's what America is. We are the civilization that has evangelized the world. As far as we know, we are Christendom, okay? St. Peter took his seat in Rome for a reason. And now you have the triumph of Israel over the new Rome, America. This is not just symbolism. This is reality. So to say, that's not really about Jews and Christians, that's fake. It's about the Khazarian mafia, this arbitrary Turkic steppe horde that infiltrated all the religions and has this like dynastic Satanism, and they're everywhere and they're doing these things that no one can prove and blah, blah. We got to team up with all the good people from all the religions. That's a load of fucking horse shit. So this is what I'm talking about when I say there are two Jeffrey Epsteins. And there is one Jeffrey Epstein that is a Jew in the service of Israel, doing things that we all sort of understand. And then there's the other Epstein, which is part of this occult conspiracy theory that the world is controlled by lizard people, the world is controlled by Nephilim and Khazarians and transgenders and all this other kind of stuff. And you see how the goal of the latter is actually to divert you from the former. They want to get people fatigued. They want to distract, overwhelm, and fatigue people with crap. They want to hit you with lizards, time travel, psychic children, secret transgenders, deep underground military bases, weather machines, satanic dynasties. They want to get you with all that.
For it to stop.
Take your eye off the ball. And the reality, arguably, is more mundane, but it is real. And in the end, here's the irony. People will say, hey, you're the shill. You don't believe in lizard people and psychic kids and time travel. In the end, those people, when they bring it home, they're going to say, hey, and it was never about the Jews after all. You think those are the purists? You think those are the fanatics? You think those are the people that are the most woke? In the end, they exonerate the Jews of deicide. In the end, they are carrying water for organized Jewry by exonerating them of the original blood libel. That's the original Holocaust. What does Holocaust mean? Burnt offering. What is Christ? An offering. The final and the perfect offering to God. That's the original sacrifice. So, you know, once you posit this easily disprovable stuff about the Khazarians and blah, blah, you exonerate them and you make it about something else, and then you're just in wacko land. So Jacob Frank and these Turkic steppe hordes infiltrated every religion, and you know, they use the Star of Remphan and blah, blah, and now they're doing adrenochrome, and they have Baal on the bank statement, and it's like we're really just kind of fishing for anything, throwing everything at the wall that can stick in the end, because they do not want to reject individualism.
But it's got to go.
You know, they can't make that work when they're saying that there are good Jews like Dave Smith, so it can't be the Jews. Well, it is.
Yeah, there's exceptions to rules.
And, you know, Dave Smith, in the end, let's say this Epstein stuff created a ton of anti-Semitism. And people are saying, we're going to take power from Jewish people. Like, do you think Dave would be in favor of that? You think that Dave would be like, yeah, let's take the billions from the Jewish billionaires? You think he'd support that?
No.
He wouldn't. I would expect him to. So, anyway. That's that. That's just a little discussion on the whole Epstein phenomenon. We have to be better. We have to be rigorous in our methods. We have to be factual. We can't lose sight of the deeper truth, the theological, political truth of our reality, which is that it is the synagogue and the church, and it always has been. It is this controversy that goes back 2,000 years of the God-man. Behold, a man. Here he is. You know, this man that rose from the dead. What do we do with this? Muslims say it was a body double. Jews say it's some sort of trick. Atheists want to pretend it never happened. They don't want to deal with it. It is a conflict over this. It is a conflict over the Christ with the Jews, the Muslims, the rest of them. That is the central conflict. And so if you don't see, the Jewish question has this theological, political dimension that cannot be ignored. You can't get away from it. And anyway, so that's that. But I do want to move on. I want to get into the super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say about all this. Tell me what you think. Am I, what do the Goyim think about this? Goyim in abundance in the super chats. I'm curious. What do you people have to say? I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, but we have to only tell the truth.
Emerald sent $50. You hit the nail 100% on the head. Candace is definitely a Scientologist or being seriously influenced by them. I'm worried about the effect she has on her audience. She's brainwashing people not to critically think or use logic. You'd hope her lack of knowledge and literacy would be enough to start questioning her, or start to humble herself.
Well, and we might spell some of that out on Friday, because there's also a Russian connection there too. And, people think that the Russian connection is a diversion. People say, oh, you're blaming Russia. That's a cover up. It's Israel. Israel and Russia are like this. That's what you don't realize. Every Russia conspiracy is really an Israel conspiracy. And they're both true because Israel and Russia have been like this. Okay? Where do you think all the Jews lived for like 300 years? They all lived in Poland, Russia. They all lived there. So, there's a time when 80-90% of the world's Jews lived in Russia. And that's where they came from. When the Rebbe came to New York, he came here from Russia. So, people say, oh, it's one or the other. They're the same.
Tyler Hepworth sent $30. Probably a low IQ question. I fear we've reached a point where totalitarianism is almost required to force positive change. While I love the idea of libertarianism, I fear there is vulnerability to corruption. Totalitarianism is only good with the right leader.
Well, all this technology and internet and all this stuff, humans haven't evolved or haven't even evolved their culture or ways of living to accommodate this. So that's what you're seeing with, you know, this guy saying, authoritarianism is necessary. It may very well be. We still don't know how to navigate this stuff. We're like struggling to keep our head above water.
We just cooked? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so we're just beginning to think about these issues.
We're not
It's
even
clear.
replacing ourselves.
Bro is just beginning to ponder these questions. I think that liberalism makes us vulnerable. Maybe we need a strong
America
man.
First Roy percent one.
Just keep chewing on
America
that.
First Roy percent $100. Approaching women, dating apps, putting myself in social situations where I could meet one. No thanks. I'll keep getting richer and wait for a bitch to fall out the sky. Thumbs up emoji.
Thanks for that. What are you fishing for with that? Do you want head pats? What are you looking for with that one? Thank you for the big super
Real
chat.
Wear swim shirt sent $100. Went to my first confession in 6 years over the weekend. The priest asked me what brought me back and I told him it was a show I listened to and he asked which one, so I said Nick Fuentes. He knew and he talked about how you're defending the vilified young men and truly living the Catholic faith.
Wow.
He was from MN and said he approves how you're defending the ICE situation.
Wow, I'm surprised. Thank you for the big... I'm usually... Catholics are so hard on me. They never give me a break. They always want to just point out all my flaws. I've never claimed to be a flawless person. Catholics are always, oh, he said this, he said that, he's a bad guy. So, wow, that surprises me, but that makes me feel good. So thank you. And I'm glad to hear you went to confession. Good for
Zossie
you.
Hole sent $20. Jake Shields. Me daughter was raped on the island.
Dude, literally. It's literally... Epstein Island and the Holocaust are like the same thing now. With the Holocaust, they said lampshades, bars of soap, human chess pieces, and masturbation machines. Now with Epstein Island, they're gutting women and eating the fecal matter out of their intestines. They're eating people and doing time travel. They're cloning human beings and making them transgender. It's like, how do you not realize this is the same thing? And it's like, I'm not an Epstein Island denier. I'm just saying it wasn't 6 million. I'm just saying there weren't any human chess pieces, So yeah, it's literally the same niggas that are making Holocaust jokes every day now want to clutch their pearls about Epstein Island. It's like you do realize that, okay, maybe 6 million people weren't killed, but lots of people were murdered in the Holocaust and had their stuff taken and were probably raped. And you joke about that all the time. It is actually quite insensitive because that is an atrocity that happened and people starved to death and got typhus.
Yeah, we know
some
that,
of them
Nick,
were shot
and
by
we don't want to
firing
listen to
squads.
you
And they
telling
were
us
labor
that,
camps, and it was
asshole,
brutal.
because you're the one who does that
And you joke
almost
about that
the
all the
most.
time. That's pretty insensitive. Now I make a joke about girls go on a casting couch and people go, "What the fuck?" Well, are we trolls or are we moral fags?
Not
Are
only
we
that,
trolls
but
or are we moral fags?
the women go on the casting couch. This is
You must
known.
choose.
We know
Call
this.
it.
They're
Are
into
we
that
trolls
shit.
or are
They're
we moral
down with
fags?
it.
I'm a troll. Born a troll, die a troll. I'm not a moral fag. So, You know, these are just NPCs. You're finding out that these NPCs never had a sense of humor. It used to be funny to just troll everybody and say, like, hey, Hitler did nothing wrong. 6 million? I don't think so. That used to be funny because people would get mad. Now, like, the NPCs caught on and now they just use it to, like, reinforce their morality. They're like, Hitler was based because he would kill pedophiles. Good guy was good because he would stop the bad people. It's like, okay, so you're just using this to reinforce and validate a moral point of view. That's not funny. That's not challenging. You know what's Chad? I'll tell you what's Chad. Eating your vegetables and going to bed at a reasonable hour. That's what a real Chad does. It's like, dude, Chad is funny because he's carefree. Chad is funny because he's doing things that are ridiculous. Like in the old days, you would say, the Chad eats like garbage and doesn't care and is fine anyway. The Chad Trump eats cheeseburgers and lives to be 100. The joke is like the carefree guy has the better outcome. It's funny. It's ironic. It's absurd. It's a subversion of expectations. Then Chad became, oh, you know what's really Chad? When you have a traditional wife and you have 10 white children and eat homegrown vegetables. And it's like, that's not funny. You're just saying, like, you're just expressing approval for a lifestyle. You're just saying the thing that I like is good. This cultural symbol for goodness, I'm applying it to this thing that I approve of. So, long story short, fuck Goyim. Okay. Fuck Goyim. I fucking hate stupid Goyim. They ruin everything. It's like remember the NPC meme? The NPC meme. What's the joke? The joke is that most people are not capable of critical thinking.
On-player
and so
character.
They will tend to be repetitive. They all say the same things. It's sort
They
of
have
like
a very
an
narrow
input-output machine. They
bandwidth
respond
they
in the exact same way to different questions. It's almost as if they have a finite number of responses.
Yeah.
And then the NPC meme turned into like a political thing where they were like, oh, if you praise Democrats, you're an NPC. NPCs are anti-Trump. NPCs are just like liberal conformists. And it's like, that's not really the same thing.
NPCs have fucking brains
So
and
every
actually
joke
think.
is eventually corrupted by idiots that are cognitively not capable of understanding irony. Because it starts out as a joke, meaning it is ironic and challenging, and then it turns into just a form of signaling.
Quarter zip fire.
It just becomes about reaffirming, morals.
Hard as fuck.
Reaffirming conventions and just saying, like, this is what you're supposed to do. So, NPCs vote for Democrats. Chads vote for Republicans. Hitler was good because he fought bad guys. And it's like, no, it's funny to support Hitler because it's edgy, because he's the evil guy and we're pretending like he's like our hero. Anyway.
Dr. MC Spankus sent $20. Saw some guy post an obviously photo of Mombali with Epstein and insist it was real. Half of the replies are barely sentient retards saying this is fake. Rock told me. People don't realize how cooked this shit is. The median IQ is easily
It's
a full
so
standard
cooked.
deviation to the left of the mean. The herd must be called further.
It really does, man. It's so cooked. Hey, Guac, is this real? Guac, is this true? Like, we are raising
Bro, if you're
an
asking
entire
AI whether something
society
is
of
true or not, you've
numbskull
lost the
goitards
plot,
that
my
are
dude.
just pleading with Grok.
Lost
Guac,
the
is this
plot.
true? We're gonna and I've literally encountered that. I'm in like a debate with somebody, and they're like, "Hey, ChatGPT, is that true?" And ChatGPT spits out a paragraph it doesn't even know.
I mean, it's stupid. You're basically going to sign over all your sovereignty as a human being to AI. That your AI is going to do all your things. Huh? Whatever ChatGPT says the answer is, that's your answer. Well, then what do we need you? We should just put you in the ground and use ChatGPT.
And you're like, is this what society has become? It's like you could go to one of these Goyim and say, hey, the sky is blue. And they'll say, Guac, is that true? Is the sky actually blue? Guac, is that real? People they can't
Red Pill
think
Media
anymore.
X sent $50. I regret to inform you that the Goyim have gone insane. 3 years of watching AF just to realize that the final red pill is that the Jews are right.
They're right about one thing. Fuck Goyim.
Chad Bronco sent
They're
$25.
right about that.
Hey Nick, I know we love everyone and stuff, but at my HS the Indians and Mexicans fucking hate us whites. LOL. They are working together in my school to organize
La
against guys, and this trend is
Raza.
growing across districts.
They're
They are
racist
wearing the
as
Mexican flag
fuck.
at school now, and we all know they are illegal or their
They
parents
gotta
are.
go. La
That's
Big Super Chat
Raza.
sent
Bitch.
$20. Fuck kick, they don't know what they're missing out on.
Yeah, I didn't even get a chance to talk about that. I'll cover it
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I was
Randy
gonna
Fine sent
say
$25.
that,
Have you seen that
Simo.
Speedbag legend Ben Shapiro is doing his shows late at night now? You are truly an inspiration to all of us.
Really?
The millennial Charlie Kirk thinks he can get everyone back on board with Israel if he can just stay up late and talk to the disgruntled youth in their mom's basement.
No, I didn't see that, but that's kind of funny.
Travis Groy sent $30. Wore my wang hoodie the other day and some dudes asked for a picture with me. Keep up the great work, King.
Hey, let's go, Based. Yeah, good for
Christopher
you,
Last sent
man.
$20. Thanks for having the balls to make a stand and wake people up.
Hell
Keep up
yeah.
the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sonic Roy sent $100. Last week you didn't read my $100 super chat, so here it is again. I can't believe you were hating on Texas Roadhouse. Don't you know their steaks are
Ugh.
grass fed?
Thank you for the big super chat. Very good. Very funny. It's just slop, dude. If you like that, you just have no taste.
Stone Grim Reaper sent $20. One of my favorite facts
You're-
about American
you're
history
into
is
the
that the first
black
Plymouth
fair.
Pilgrims arrived. About half died of those that came on the Mayflower. It was ab 40 to 50 white European settlers that built U.S. As you probably know, I
Cool.
represent the Rothschild sent $20. Bannon denounces Christianity, has talks about Ukraine being captured by Jews, plots to steer the entire U. Appears there are lots of references to pizza again and more. Should we still wear our merch in public? It appears that this Epstein guy really was a bad person.
Oh my gosh. Wow, no balls.
Mouth kinda dry sent $25. A 26-year-old teacher is facing 20 years in prison after having sex with an 18-year-old 2 months after she graduated.
That's
He wasn't her teacher and never had
crazy.
been.
That's crazy. See, this is like they're lynching
Jeffrey
people
Epstein
for
getting banned
this.
for saying African American on Xbox
Innocent.
Live Roy $30. It feels as though we have arrived back at the hand signal and palm gun stage. Now for the next few months I will have to be subjected to every boomer around me talking about bail being the bank account name.
Yeah, dude, literally. Hey, you know his account name was Bob.
Randall from Recess sent $25. Third worldists are saying notice how all these white leaders are implicated in the files. They leave out that kind of blackmail wouldn't work in non-white countries because that kind of shit is par for the course in the third world. Aisha was how old? Jake's I like the guy but he's pathetic shtick is getting old.
Yeah, I'm getting pissed off with that. I mean, and especially from someone that just doesn't know what they're talking about. You know, I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but if you don't know what you're talking about, maybe you should just not attack me. You know, you want to play that game? Like, sorry, but your outrage is not a substitute for knowing what the fuck you're talking about. That's the ideology of the left. Your emotiveness, your outrage is not a substitute for critical thinking. I don't want to play that card, but it's getting ridiculous. You know, this guy's just going to be the maddest guy walking around with his ass on his head. Yeah, no one's happy that it happened. Okay. But you don't even really know what you're talking about. You just got here. I don't even think you understand anything you're talking about. You don't know the first thing about Hitler. You don't know the first thing about the Nazis. You don't know the first thing about fucking anything. So, you know, people love disagreeing with me. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They say, well, I'm mad. It's like, okay, well, emotion is feminine.
Yosef 1776 sent $50. Jake Shields is Goymaxing.
Yeah,
it's
it's very
really
simple.
cringe.
Like
Defrest
I
sent
actually explained this to somebody the other day that we've had AI for a long time. We just didn't have the processing power to make it useful. See, you know, what all AI does is process a lot of variables and then cross-reference over those variables. But our processors were too slow to process enough variables to be worth anything. The processors are good enough now. So they can just feed it billions of stuff to it in a second, and that processor can churn out answers. The algorithms that they use, though, they've been around for years. They just weren't powerful enough. You know, they didn't have enough horsepower to leverage it.
And it's getting obnoxious.
Defrest sent $20. Burger store built like a box. Food bag is a box. Burger in a box. Fries in a box. Eat the box. You have to eat the box. Average John 93 sent $100. With friends like Jake Shields, who needs enemies. The guy praises Hitler constantly on Twitter but can't handle
It's
a simple sweater.
crazy.
If you don't stop normalizing Epstein, Jake's gonna touch kids.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and I told him that. I said, you make Hitler jokes every day. You make jokes about a warlord who killed millions of people and he wanted to enslave all of Russia. And you're crying about this guy's island? I mean, really? And here's the point. If you're okay with edgy jokes, then be consistent. If we could talk about the truth of the Holocaust, we could talk about the truth of the island. If we could joke about the Holocaust, we can joke about the island. This whole bitching and moaning, hey man, you can't joke about that. First of all, it's 30 years ago. He got charged in 2006 for stuff that happened years before that. Literally, it's 25 years ago. Grow up. I'm over that, man. It's like, but these guys are numbskulls. It's all just emotion. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They haven't thought critically about any of this. It's just them in their feelings about the latest atrocity propaganda they saw on the timeline by people that actually have an ideology, by Muslims or leftists. And it's just like, what is even the point of this? Is it useful to have somebody that has no clue what they're talking about posting the same talking points? I doubt it. I mean, what is the value? At one point, it's like, oh, this guy's saying the talking points. We need them to get the message out. They're mainstreaming it. Okay, well, the talking points are out. It's mainstream. Let's go through some of the content here. Jake Shields tweets, Trump hates Massey for exposing the pedos. You know what
Jake
Uncle would do
Shields
with
is
this,
fucking,
Anon.
he is a caveman type. I mean, you
Our
could just tell
politicians are
there's not a
blackmailed
whole
by a
lot going
satanic
upstairs.
cult.
Isn't much going on in his upstairs.
I don't find Jews raping and torturing children funny, so I'm a sellout. Do you get it yet? Our own government is our biggest enemy. They are truly evil.
Some fucking low IQ shit right there. Low res, man.
Making
Big
this a
time.
left-right issue as a distraction.
Holy shit.
The Goyim hate us because they are jealous they don't get to drain the blood of this 100 times a day. 100 times a day. 100 times per day. No analysis, no insight, no information, no original ideas. It's okay. Yeah, let's just get more of this dialogue tree. I haven't gotten enough of this dialogue tree. Who is this for exactly, other than people with face tattoos? Who is this for other than people that have gotten punched in the face 1,000 times?
People that
with
eat
face
paint
tattoos,
chips.
former drug addicts.
People that are fucking
Seriously.
shot.
People that
They're
believe
shot
in
out, man.
alternative medicine and drinking your own piss.
Yep.
Who is this for? You know what this is? This is just vague
Low
sentiment.
IQ.
That's all this is. This is not nuanced.
Outright.
This is not detailed. This is not a factual, informational, insightful, analytical. I mean, what is this other than just like expressing the same sentiment over and over and over and over every day for years? Let's do another podcast where we get all the same people saying all the same things. Hey, remember the King David Hotel bombing? Yeah, that was crazy. Hey, remember the Liberty? Yeah, that was crazy. And remember the dancing Israelis? Google dancing Israelis. And remember, it's like, okay, got it. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, bro. Got the hat, got the gift bag. Because, that's easy. Critical thinking is hard. I know that. I know that's difficult. Reading books is hard. Reading the news is hard. You'll have these same people, they tweet every day, they cause all the wars in the Middle East. Really? Name 5 of the leaders in the Middle East right now.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
You know what's going to happen? I'm going to wind up debating one of these people, and I'm just going to check them.
Khomeini.
I am literally just going to drop the quiz, and everyone knows that any one of these people that I talk to is not going to know the basics
Turkey,
about anything. It's going to be like, are you smarter than a 5th grader? Okay, Middle East war expert. Tell me about what's happening in Yemen. Tell me what happened in Yemen last week. Can you do it? Tell me what's happening in Pakistan right now. Can you do it? Mr. War expert. What year did these wars start? Do you even know? They couldn't even tell you. People like me or others do the thinking and the research. People like this amplify the vague sentiment. And then they get butthurt about something and then they turn around and say, hey, you need to apologize. I don't agree with you. It's like, okay, well, while we're on the subject, you don't even have an informed opinion. You don't even know what you're talking about. So you really have no right. You have your right to an opinion. Well, so does everybody. I don't care. You know, I see all these people tweeting at me, you know, now Sneeko, really, bro? Now Sneeko's telling me, you know, you shouldn't be amplifying this. Dude, you were saying the same stuff. Sneeko literally tweeted a picture of Epstein with the big coat on and said he really had that shit on. Okay. So, again, what are we doing? So when it was you, it was cool. When when you tweeted that in October of last year, that was fine. Yeah. Epstein had that shit on. When I sell the shirt, oh, that's too far. That's optically bad. Did you forget you said that? And how about your own religion, bro? How about your own religion? Your religion is literally about harems and, you want to talk about Aisha? You want to talk about the prophet's wife? Seriously? Your own fucking people will say she was 9 years old. Let's not even go
I
there.
actually have a cousin who hit puberty at 9. I mean, that's possible. That's in the realm of possibility. I mean, it's crazy, but I mean, it blew my mind. I was like, what? That's insane. But like, I mean, I get why it's in the Quran and stuff. It's a different time, but it is in the realm of possibility for a woman to be pregnant at 9.
Let's just not even go there, please. I don't want to fight with you guys. I like Jake, I like Sneeko, but come on now. We want to take it there? I don't think you do. I'm a pretty respectful person. I'm a pretty humble person. People want to have their opinion, that's fine. Then people want to start coming at me, and it's like, okay, well, you guys don't even know what you're talking about. So let's just try to acknowledge our own limitations, please. Let's just have a little self-awareness.
Seriously.
And Jake, I mean, this guy, how many times are we going to have this public blow up?
Yeah.
And every
somebody
time
who gets all pissed off and emotional like that, bro, it's when people don't know how to express themselves. When people have trouble expressing themselves, they get frustrated and emotional. Like somebody who's emotional or overly emotive, it's typically because they're not very intelligent.
Just, hey, man, I'm sorry. Hey, man, I shouldn't have said that. Hey, I should have talked to you first. Hey, I didn't see this. But people have this resentment towards me. They don't want to fight me. And then they just accidentally let it slip that they got this big fucking problem with me. I love that. So, whatever, bro. I'm just over it. I'm just so over that. Guy that literally worships Hitler. All of them. Worship Hitler.
Seriously.
Hitler's the man. I love Hitler. LOL, the Holocaust. Dude,
but
Hitler
Epstein,
was a
whoa,
racial
this guy is
they
a
really
demon,
think that Hitler
God. He's a
create,
demon.
a
It's Satan's right-hand
Democrat
man.
socialist country.
Come on, dude.
If Hitler had it his way, they would have killed and enslaved millions of people. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
They go, Hitler in their mind, Hitler's like Superman. Like he was an alien that came here to fight for truth, justice, and the American way. He came here to free the Slavs from communism, and he just wanted to destroy pornography. And it's like, no, like he wanted to enslave half of Europe. He wanted to colonize
on behalf
Eastern
of the
Europe.
Germans. Yeah.
He wanted an empire based on racial hierarchy.
Absolutely.
Hello.
It was an empire based on a
racial caste system. Jake, your kids aren't even white. In Hitler's Germany, your kids would be second-class citizens.
Straight up. They wouldn't be allowed to have children with white people.
Well, when you have kids, you'll feel differently. Dude. Like, what do you think Hitler would think about you, bro? And I'm not saying that for any reason other than like, I thought we all understood that we could have this ironic detachment. Like understanding this, we could have a mature view of Hitler and we can sort of have an admiration for how he rebuilt the German state, while also being conscious of the fact that he did commit atrocities, although they were embellished for political purposes. Like I thought we could have a mature understanding. No, they're not capable of this. They're not capable. For them, it's either Hitler was the devil or he's Jesus. For them, it's all or nothing. In their story, no, it's just reversed. Hitler's the good guy, and the world started when I don't even know. Like, you ask these people what happened in the 20th century, they would tell you, well, first the Jews got us into World War I, then the Jews got us into World War II, then they killed Kennedy, then they did 9/11, and then they killed Charlie Kirk. Like, if you asked any of these people, write U.S. history out from start to finish, that's what it would be for them. Couldn't tell you about anything else. So, yeah, it's just getting really irritating. And I'm just about done. I've had it with that. I really, you want to do your podcast and bring the same people on to talk about to give the same speech that you've been giving for 3 years, knock yourself the fuck out. You want to do another podcast where you say, Jews are killing kids, that's a genocide in Palestine, blah, blah. Okay, knock yourself out. We've heard it. We've been there, done that, like I said. Same people, same message, same speech. Go right ahead. I'm actually interested in critical thinking and a political movement. You want a virtue signal and post platitudes, and I'll bet you 2 bits, you won't even be here in 5 years. I bet you $1 million, these people won't even be here in 5 years. When it becomes unpopular again, they'll be onto something else. So anyway, it's a load of shit that we're getting from them. I've held my tongue long enough. I've had enough. I should be humiliated and apologize. Apologize to fucking who? You? Why am I apologizing to you?
Yeah, fucking punch drunk UFC fighter. Son of a bitch is a palooka, man. He's
fucking apologize.
Dude,
to who? Selling a shirt?
He sounds drunk.
You're selling a shirt that resembles a shirt that a bad guy wore.
I just half expect him to start drooling.
Liberals? You? Women? Fuck off. You should be humiliated and embarrassed. Think I'm embarrassed? Fuck you. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed for the shit you post every day. It's retarded. Fucking retarded. Try posting something without a spelling error. Try learning English. I should be embarrassed? Learn English, bro.
Seriously.
This is barely literate. Every post, me no like Jews. Me like Hitler.
Oh, man.
You should be fucking embarrassed. You should take a fucking English course before you come back on the timeline and tell me I should be embarrassed and I should apologize with that. It's fucking enough already.
So low res, man. He should just be quiet.
Here's what I'm pissed off. This guy, every week this is happening. Talking shit on the timeline. I say, hey, bro, what's up? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that, blah, blah. Okay, man, it's all good. Again. Oh, Nick is Israel first, blah, blah. Hey, Jake, what the fuck is up with this? Oh, sorry, dude. I should have texted you, blah. Hey, man, it's all good. Whatever.
Well, what it is these, it's like Sneako's doing that shit to Tate. They're just, they want to make money. They want to be popular. And they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to bash somebody who they say is their friend, but still be friends. They want to bash that person and that person never hold them to account. Always, oh, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it, man. You can roast me on Twitter anytime you want, and I'm cool with it. I mean, it just, when I seen that Sneako doing that, I'm like, this is just an asshole, who's just trying to make money.
I mean, literally the other day, I think yesterday, I texted Jake. I said, so we going to do this every month now? He goes, you're right. I shouldn't have said that. That was dumb. I shouldn't have told you to apologize, blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, I know you don't mean any harm. I don't hold a grudge. It's fine.
I don't think he realizes he could do any harm.
Today, all day. Dude, you just shouldn't be in this.
Yeah.
Clearly you have no discipline. You have no self-control.
None.
I thought I had no self-control. That's next level. Clearly you have no control over your actions. Maybe you should just stick
impulsive
to something else. Like, seriously. How are we going to have a movement no one can disagree? Everybody has to think the same thing. Everybody has to I mean, it's getting really
It's very
suffocating.
craven what Sneeko and Jake do.
No,
That's
no, we
very
can make
craven.
Holocaust jokes. That's really funny and edgy, but you can't joke about that. It's getting really suffocating.
It,
People
for
telling
love
me,
of
hey,
the
you're not
almighty
on the team
dollar,
if you don't believe this. You're not
love
on
of
the
the
team if you don't
greenback.
agree with this. ICE sucks. Hands off Venezuela. Hands off Greenland. The Jews killed Charlie Kirk. That's not funny. You need to apologize. It's like, okay, man, I'm out.
You know, it reminds me of like, you know, the dog chasing the postman. You know, they just every shiny object and they're off to the races. Oh, hands off Venezuela. Oh, hands off Greenland. Everything. Oh, what? Oh, they're just what was that movie with the squirrel where the dog could talk? Or it was a movie where the dog's thoughts were spoken and it was just, oh, look, a squirrel. Oh, I mean, it just snatched its focus and attention. I mean, it had like a 2-second focus as well.
You know, you want to have this purity spiraling movement. Hey, good luck. Lots of luck. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Let's see where you are in 5 years. The Fight Back podcast. Hey, good luck, buddy. You do it your way. I have no enemies, okay? No grudges. I'm not coming after you, but I'm not coming on your podcast. I'm done with that. You go your way, I'll go mine. You try it your way, I'll try it my way. You go and run for Congress. God help us. The day that Jake Shields is in Congress, you even know what Congress is or does? For fuck's sake. I'm thinking about running for Congress. Bro, you don't know anything. So, hey, knock yourself out. Try and run. And you have it your way. Okay, pal? I'll do it. You know, you don't like my methods. You don't understand it. Good news. You don't need to understand it. It's a free country. Knock yourself out. You do it your way. I'll do it my way. Always have. It's been like this for 10 years. It just get goofy people and there's just no like respect. I've been doing this
It
for
is
my whole life.
disrespectful.
I know more than you. More successful at this than you.
Right? Somebody who's spent their whole life
You don't have
training
to
for
agree with me, but
fighting.
this like
No, you're
now
not.
everybody wants to
Why are you trying to
attack my credibility. You
why
need
does
to
this guy think
apologize.
that
Where do you get off?
he should that he
I need to apologize.
can talk to
like
somebody
you're my
who's trained their
mother.
whole life in
For
politics?
fuck's sake.
It's like
You know.
you don't see Nick
People
trying to
say
get in
I
the
burn
ring and
every
fight him.
bridge. I don't like being treated this way. You know? I've paid a steep price to have
his opinions.
editorial freedom on my show. I paid a steep price to be
He
able
did.
to say whatever I want.
He did.
I'm not going to be cowed by numbskulls.
Numbskulls. That's
These cocksuckers
a
think
dimwit.
like, they're going to shame it. Nick said this on Twitter. Hey, fuckface, Twitter ain't real life.
It isn't.
Okay, tweet more crap about me like I care. It's totally,
Twitter is
don't
mostly
tweet anything
bots.
bad about me. I need to be liked by this island of misfit toys.
That's kind of
Get a
what.
life. Anyway, I'm over it, man. I'm telling you, something broke when Charlie Kirk got killed. Something broke. Charlie Kirk got killed, and all these people revealed how.
But Nick,
weak they
that is
are.
why you're where you're at. That's why all of us are listening to you right now.
Charlie Kirk died,
Charlie Kirk
and
died.
it's like it really revealed the cracks
And
in whatever this thing
propelled
is.
you to the apex.
Everybody's blaming Israel. For crying out loud. And at the end of the day, these are people that they just have no thirst for knowledge. It's all just virtue signaling. It's like such a thin ideological thing, and it's all virtue signaling. They can't even be bothered to read the relevant information. And so it's sort of pointless for them. Anyway.
Roy Per Banana sent $50. The monologue on Friday about Hassan was so funny I almost broke my mewing streak. Love the show. What's your opinion on labor unions?
I think they suck.
Candace's Chocolate Cheeks sent $20. First super chat got my wang flag today. Shit so tough. Loki, bring back the beard to hide the July power level.
It's people like the beard. People, it's funny. I took the beard, and a lot of people hit me up, and they're like, "I actually really like the beard." So you can't win. You can't please
Brian
everybody.
sent $25. There's a 2013 email in the Epstein files where they are trying to brainstorm people to invite to a 92nd Street Y meeting. They list about 60 very prominent people, but they only want to invite people with blue eyes.
Interesting.
Taco Dog sent $20. Who would win in a fist fight, Gavin MC Innes or Alex Jones?
Alex Jones for sure. The guy's huge. I mean, he's massive.
Not imposter.
And Gavin is a scrappy guy, but he's a smaller guy. He's a little smaller
different.
like me. Alex Jones is just like pure muscle. The guy's built like a tank. He's built like a boulder. I would not want to
The
have
imposter syndrome is when somebody is doing something, but they feel like an imposter, or that's what that is. They feel like they don't belong. They're out of place. I forget what the other one is, where somebody they know so little they don't realize how little they know.
Alex Jones coming at me full speed. I mean, it's probably be like getting hit by a truck. It would literally be like getting shot with a cannonball if Alex Jones was running at you full speed. So I wouldn't fuck with him. And he's like a big teddy bear. He's like a big sweetie pie, but that man is just like, first of all, he's a maniac. And second of all, he is just like, I feel like he could deflect a bullet. I feel like if you hit him with like a small caliber bullet, it would just bounce right off. Talk about like 30-06. It's like that bullet wouldn't even penetrate. There wouldn't even be an entry wound. It would just, he's a beast. So definitely Alex Jones is like, he's probably the number one contender.
Shane Sutton sent $20. Nick, I just wanted to say thank you again for your kindness and for taking the time to take a photo with me outside the restaurant in Miami. Small gestures like that really mean a lot and go a long way. America first and God bless.
Which restaurant? I honestly, not to sound like aura farming, but that happened a bunch of times. But you got it, buddy. You're welcome. Always. I'll always take a picture for the fans. It's got to stick and move, but I'll always take a picture. So you're welcome, buddy. I'm glad you appreciated it.
B. Denpilled sent $50. Left John Goyle for you last year. A no-brainer. I went to University of KY in November 19 for Michael Knowles Q&A as a normie libertarian. Witnessed Groyper Army burying DW live years before I was a frog emoji.
Yawn Goyle. That's really funny. Well, who's even still with him? Even his own commenters aren't with him. I still read the comments. I like to watch his fall off, his biblical fall off, and I read the comments, and the comments are like, your shtick is getting old, John. It's honestly sad how somebody like that is so twisted. His mind has been completely warped by that Dark Lord, Darren Beatty. You have allowed that Dark Lord to twist your mind until now you've become the very thing you swore to destroy. Don't lecture me, Nick. I see through the lies of the Groypers. I do not fear the Jews as you do. I mean, that's literally the dialogue. Because Goyle used to be like me. He used to be a Groyper. He told me I lied to the Blaze. He told me I got flown out. They interviewed me. They asked me questions about Israel. I lied through my teeth, and I'm going to be your guy. Doyle hooked up the Elijah me interview in December 21. Like, he convinced Elijah to do it. So he was our guy. And then somewhere along the way, he just got corrupted. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the fact that he opened his girlfriend's laptop and it was a picture of me as a screensaver. Maybe that did it. Who knows? Maybe it was the whole like erectile dysfunction thing. Maybe it was the fact that he could just never be me. Maybe it's the fact that he found out I was making fun of him when he got in a car crash. Well, look, he's a dork, okay? I never liked him. What can I say? I work alone, buddy. Poor guy. I do feel kind of bad because he is. Here's the thing. It's really hard to be me because people are so sensitive. I mean, people worship me and love me. And if I'm not everything they want me to be and more, if I'm not giving them enough attention, if I'm not, their best good friend, they really despise me. It's like a weird position to be in because most people, no one gives a shit about them. And if you don't like them, they're like, whatever. But with me, it's like the sun shines on a person and they glow. But when the sun stops shining and shines somewhere else, then they just become resentful and angry. And they say, you always were a horrible person. They start counting the grievances. And it's like, what did I even do to these people? There's like a dozen people that's like, they will never move on. And it's like, what did I even do? They act like I killed their wife. They act like I killed their whole I think literally there are people that their children have been murdered and they have forgiven the killers faster and more deeply than people that hold the grudge against me because I was like, stop being their friend or something. Like, I didn't even do anything to John Doyle. The only thing that happened is he got in a car crash and I said something like, LOL, it's a shame he didn't die. And he got really mad. It's like, okay, I can see why you're mad, but like, you're still mad? That was like 5 years ago. Let it go. Let it go. That was literally the reason for the crash out. We were like on the same page and then he was like, I heard you talk trash about me in a group chat. It's like, so what? Everyone talks about everyone, okay? I'm funny and I like to gossip and sometimes I can't help myself. Honestly, that's my problem. That's kind of always been my problem, is I just like to talk shit and it gets me in trouble. So I got to work on that. Okay, granted, I have to work on that. I am flawed. But yeah, we were like best good friends. And he got in this, he was fine. He didn't even get injured, okay? He was totally fine. His stupid gay car got totaled, but he was fine. And I said, damn it, shame, you almost died. It's like he should have died. And he's like, I heard you said I should die in a car crash. Dude, we were kidding, okay? We just hate your show. We just hate you. We just hate you. Whatever. You should still be objective, okay? I don't know. I don't take all that personally. People talk shit about me. I honestly don't take it personally. You know? So, anyway. John Doyle. But yeah, he really did get twisted up by Darren Beatty, and now he's just like a Jew glazer. It's crazy. They all did. They all did. Patrick Casey, Matt Kipta, Jake Lloyd, that whole contingent, these like dick riders, these bandwagoners from 10 years ago. First of all, none of them have independent success. They're all failures. Second of all, they now like define themselves in opposition to me. Everything they tweet is just like a subtweet about me. And it's like, I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes I wish I could just be, you know, a fly on the wall. Because I really am just a voyeur. People say, like in a sexual context, or like you're a cuck. It's like, I really just...
He's a people watcher.
I'm kind of just like a passive observer of life. Does anyone else feel like that?
He wants to be a bystander.
I feel more comfortable as I go through life as sort of just an observer. I just like to contemplate. I like to watch the cars go by. I like to watch
Absolutely.
I like to people watch. I like to watch the people walk by.
Bro, I called it, dude.
I like to listen to their conversations.
Because
I like to sit
identify with it.
alone
I
in the
relate
corner
with what
of a
he's
cafe,
talking about.
and I just like to, you know, enjoy the ambiance. And that's how I like to go through life. But because of my strong personality and the things I say, I just excite people. I excite people. People get angry. They get passionate. They go, yeah. Or they go, I hate this guy. It's like someone lost their life because they were mad at me. Someone died outside my house because they were so mad at me. This guy was like, I hate this guy so much. I'm going to try and shoot him and possibly die. So it's like, let me just do my show. Can I just be? It's so hard to be yourself. It's so hard to just be yourself because everybody, you know, has these expectations. They want something from you, want you to be a certain way, say a certain thing. And yeah, life is defined by these complications. You just get tangled up in these people's lives. I really do believe being famous is such a curse because the more people who you exist in their consciousness, it's just like bad for you. I think it's better to just be unknown. It's better to be anonymous.
Absolutely.
Better to just be a
Of course.
drifter. Anyway,
Because you can
so
always jump
'cause I
in the
do think
pool. You
all
can
these
always
other
get in the
people, like, no one
water.
gives a fuck what John Doyle says.
You can
But it's like
always
me,
mix it
I
up,
say something in a
but you
group
can
chat,
never
people are
go
like,
back
I'm
to the
going to dedicate my life
sidelines.
to hating you forever. It's like, what
That's
the
the way
fuck?
I see it. You know, it's like a tattoo.
Holy.
Once you got
Anyway,
it, you got it.
weird. It's weird
Diddy
stuff.
Sprinkle said
that's it.
$100. Came across a clip of you talking about not being able to pause the game. My dad was one of those that would smash Xbox with no fucks given. I
Wow.
probably had to buy MW2 12 times over. I can't pause.
Thank you for the big super chat. That's just cringe. If your dad is breaking your stuff, that's just like, that's L dad behavior. My dad, he only broke my phone once. But other than that, never broke any of my stuff. So he was a W. But the whole like smashing remember those like YouTube videos? Excuse me, they were like staged where that like the kid would like flip over the Thanksgiving dinner table and the dad would like blow up the Xbox.
Oh, that
Good
sounds
times.
cringe.
Taco Dog sent
I
$20.
was thinking about this earlier. I think it was like earlier today when movies used to be on YouTube
I don't know. I
because
mean,
it was that Wild West. You could
they're
post
both smaller
anything,
guys.
bro.
I mean, we're
and it
all
would
around the
ride. It
same
rode for
size, I would
years,
say.
dude. I remember watching movies for years.
I think Shapiro's maybe got more muscle. You know, there was an arc where he was working out a little bit. I don't know. I think he might be the winner, but I don't know.
Nick Feuenstein sent $20. If Charlie had some sort of spiritual superpowers, does that mean the multiverse gave you a rival Dark Roy ability you've kept hidden from us or have yet to awaken?
True. Fact check.
Well, yeah,
true.
we're like entangled on the quantum level, so
Right.
I haven't talked about that. Me and Charlie both being from Chicago, being kind of like the mirror image, our electrons are entangled at the quantum level, so we're sort of mirroring each other.
Frack.7 sent $100. We need a military general to be president until we can establish a new class/system of Congress. The elite pedos need to face the guillotine publicly. Military or militia, time is coming. Everyone be ready.
Fucking low IQ, man.
Yeah, right. And then, thank you for the big super chat.
It blows my mind.
Ice cream for dinner and no bedtime.
How can somebody talk about such cataclysmic events so flippantly? Bro, executing our entire government and replacing them? Like, do you realize what you're talking about, bro? Like, does this guy not know what happened in the French Revolution? These aren't just things you say in passing.
No parents. Yeah, okay, bro. See you at work tomorrow. Okay, fucker. See you at the water cooler. We need a military general to be president. The pedos need to face a guillotine. Yeah, okay. Okay, buddy. See you at work tomorrow.
There's no
sent $20.
takebacks
Thanks for the content.
with
You're the man.
You're welcome.
Happy Black
Thank
History
you.
Month nigga sent $25. If Hitler were a woman,
You know,
do
you don't
think he would
just
have tried to exterminate
flippantly
every man under 6 feet
execute.
2 inches
Well,
making
once
less than
they're
6 feet?
dead, they're
Yeah,
dead.
definitely.
You
Rick
can
Anderson sent $20.
always,
Illinois scum
when
state
they're
ran down
alive,
my
you
wife
can
with a
always
virus.
say, "Oh,
Also, listen
our
to Ross
bad,"
Once
you
Chicago
know,
were all my brothers
if
instead
you
of
were
Kanye, Seacrest, and
wrong
the
or
hero
whatever,
brain
you
slot.
know.
AF is the only good
But
new gen
there's
material.
no take
Joey
backs
904
with
sent
death.
$20.
Pain.
The noticing is growing.
That's
Eventually,
why
it needs to be
you
a
you
lot of
only
some kind. Not
execute
sure what that would look like. I don't think pressure will cause change.
people that you're, you know, comfort or
Yeah,
that are you're
okay.
sure of,
King72501 sent $20.
more or less.
Red Pilled Pleb sent $100. Yes, Jesus inaugurated the new covenant with the people of Israel during the Last Supper in fulfillment of Jeremiah 31:31-33, not the Goyim. Matthew 15:24. Although salvation through Christ is offered to all people, John 3:16, Titus 2:11. It is a grievous error to let your animus toward Jews and your institutional idolatry color your exegesis of Holy Writ. Sola Scriptura.
Thanks, but we're not interested in heresy. Thank you for the big super chat, but we're not interested in Protestant heresy. And the going to motive is crazy. I think you're a Jew.
Bob sent $20. Did you catch that Epstein/Charlie Kirk Avengers edit? That shit went so hard I ordered a quarter zip and started
Dude, I
Googling how to
posted
fake
it.
Israeli citizenship. So long, Goyim. I wish I was more white. Sent $20. Was watching Matt Walsh and he's reading all the Epstein emails taking about Gentiles like animals. My guess is this still won't be the thing that makes him lead DW because Ben Shapiro is not like that. The Denied sent $20. Nick, did you watch the video?
That's kind of the irony. Is that Matt Walsh? Oh, Ben Shapiro, he doesn't feel this way. Blah blah blah. He's my friend. He's my friend. He's my friend. But look how they talk about you, dude. Do you really think that Ben Shapiro doesn't talk about you that way, bro? Like, really? Because this is the way those people are. And anybody who is you know, claiming to be quintessentially a J, they are by definition claiming that they talk about you that way, basically. I mean, Matt Walsh is kind of a cuck.
That
Trenbolone
is.
acetate slam sent $100. So true.
Thank you for the big super chat. I
John Day Irving
appreciate
sent
it.
$1,488. I soft blocked you on X after your support of Epstein. As you know, I am all for equality, and the fact that he refused to traffic Afro-American girls sickened me. Then the Epstein dump came out and I realized black girls are 1.75 times more likely to be molested, and he was just playing his part to even the playing field. Anyway, follow me and I'll follow you back.
Really, bro?
John Dave Irving sent $1,488. Did you miss my super chats, by the way? What if I've been here the whole time?
Yeah, I'm sort of missing super chats is an interesting phrase. That's sort of like a interesting turn of phrase, missing super chats. Yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate the huge super chat. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, thank you very much. Funny amounts. Yep, definitely missing something. Thank you for that. Very good stuff as always. It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a while since we heard from you. I always have to wonder if you're out there somewhere as a different username. No, but God bless. Thank you very much. 07's in the chat for John Dave Irving. Very good.
Lion
Thank
Turtle sent
you.
$20. That Epstein merch ploy blew up in your face. You will forever kick for Epstein, now beholden to your merch sales. You're his bitch now. All for what? Clicks. You're losing sight of your mission.
Oh, that's crazy. Don't let it spike your cortisol. It's just a
Mike
shirt.
Kroger sent $20.
Just a
My
shirt,
cousin is one of
bro.
those Q drop 5D chess MAGA people, and he's running out of copes for this administration. Still thinks it's all part of Trump's plan to take out the elites for now, though.
Yeah.
Russian hacker sent $50. We care about saving our people from domination and replacement, not arguing whether or not he was a pedophile. You sabotaged us when it mattered most. You've completely lost the optics. You should adhere to Trump/Roy Cohn's 3 rules if you want to win.
Oh,
Form a narrative,
brother.
attack relentlessly, and then proclaim victory regardless of the outcome.
Oh, now you're the expert. Thank you for the
Goy Max
advice.
69 sent $20. I'm sorry for all the other Goyim, but we need you to Goy Max in 2026. 2026, the year of ascension and the year of Goy Maxing.
No,
Sick.
no, we're Goyim minimizing. Fuck the Goyim. Goyim are stupid. Opposite.
Meeplemore sent $20. We are being raped. Time to become the rapists again. Hashtag rapism. CMS 9919
Yeah.
sent $20. GF went to a private Baptist high school. They had a Jewish religious counselor. What the hell? Anyway, listening to the show while working the night shift helps me stay awake. Love the show. Goyim
You're
Groy sent
welcome,
$20.
yeah.
Fuck these less than 80 Goyim twin, especially Jake Shields. Mid-ass youth fighter turned low IQ anti-Semite. Also, can you please restock the large of the quarter zip, folded hands emoji?
Is it out of stock?
Dr. MC Spankus sent $20. 5 minutes into the stream and you've already gone over what I said in my pre-show super chat. Oops. I'm having flashbacks to Thursday's show. Please accept my apology in the form of a duplicate deposit. P.S. Working on my anthropology degree. 1 to 1 day prove that human races are indeed subspecies. Wish me luck. The memer sent $20. Ben Shapiro is based on Candace? Valencian 7 sent $20. I don't think the Goyim stupidity is accidental. My gut says Candace is more caged than she lets see, and so she spreads myth
Oh
to dodge
my.
the Jewish attack. She's hiding behind it after months of grifting.
Okay, yeah, it's another conspiracy.
Scalp
Another
777
layer.
sent $20. The term you were looking for is ecumenism.
Nope,
Glorb sent $21.
Thanks,
First time
Doug.
dono. Love the show, bro. Also, I'm pre-firing the super chat, so sorry if you...
that's not ecumenism
Glorb
at
sent
all.
$21. First time dono. Love the show, bro. Also, I'm pre-firing the super chat, so sorry if you talk about it, but the one pic that's poorly redacted they said was a naked dead baby, and it really being a NSFW meme with a grown man's naked ass is wild. Anyways, my question is, what is your favorite cheese?
I don't know, man.
Callie Ryan sent $30. Did you listen to the retarded Grammy Ice speeches? Epstein files come out and all of them think deporting illegals is more of an issue than satanic pedos.
Oh my.
Billie Eilish should house Somalis in her mansions.
Yeah, it
Anyway,
blows
Nick
my
Fuentes wasn't in the
mind. They
Epstein
literally
file.
had that Bad Bunny or whoever that moron. He's a moron. Like, I don't know how to say this in English. Well, then why the fuck are you standing on? Why are you here? And not only that, it's like, dude, you are an American subject. You're not an American. Like, bro, you live in Puerto Rico. You know, you're a territory. You're just one of our little bitch colonists. Like, they don't speak English there. It's like, dude, you are not American. You don't get to tell us how we do things. Shit lips. You don't. Sorry, you don't. I don't want to hear about how we should be doing things. You know, you can do your shit the way you want to do it in Puerto Rico. We're going to do it how we want to do it. And nobody has a right to tell us otherwise. These people talking about it's like, it doesn't matter what you think. You're just one person, a celebrity. We outvote you. You know, there are more of us, asshole. And we voted for these people to go home. Doesn't matter what you think, Billie Eilish. It's moot.
Keep it up. Pig emoji. I love pigs. What's your favorite animal?
Okay,
Joan Dark 90.
that's crazy.
Joan Dark 95 sent
That's
$20.
actually
It means nothing
crazy.
to be born a Jew. What you choose to be is what matters. Anyone can choose Christ, and it should tell us everything we need to know when a whole group of people defines themselves by their denial of him. A good Jew. Okay, why not
Okay.
Christian then?
Yeah.
Swedish Greeter sent $20. They're 16? Okay, I'll do it for you, Epstein. A man like you shouldn't have to go to this disgusting level. It's literally a child. I will carry this
Gross.
burden. RKD4J.
It's
Patriot
disgusting.
now and forever sent $20. I bought a quarter zip and a hat. Fuck the
Fuck
Goyim.
yeah. Hell
Candace
yeah.
Owens Freudian nip slip sent $25. Nick was right about Israel, but even more right about the Goyim.
So
Fucking
true.
Goyim.
Goyim in
Talking
abundance.
that shit sent $25. Tucker does a show pushing giants, aliens, and psychic spies. Then does an
Yep.
ad read for a Christian prayer app.
Yep.
He's as bad as Candace.
Yep. And then he says it's not Jews. It's some other thing.
Chris Little sent $20. Yo, Nick, I know way is going to stop, but I asked Grok to
It's
compare the trajectory of
aliens.
America to the fall of the Roman Empire, and it says because of mass immigration and government infiltration, we have 20 to 30 years.
Okay.
Does that sound accurate or full-blown retarded?
Oh my god.
Gruber sent $50. A high-profile defense attorney in my family who is adamantly not a conspiracy theorist told me today that him and his lawyer friends cannot help but notice there is something up with Epstein. You're spot on as usual. Brought up you focusing on the blackmail angle is most important, and he totally agreed.
Let's go.
070
Based.
sent $25. It seems strange Jeff wouldn't have any sort of dead man switch given his role. At least MC Affy claimed to have one, whether or not it was intercepted.
McAfee was full of shit, bro.
Glorb sent
About
$21.
everything.
Hi. Another pre-fire super chat. It's so funny seeing the chat spamming all before even letting you finish your point and actually get to the core point of your talk. Already can see the out-of-context clips flooding in. Second question. Have you eaten Parmigiano Reggiano?
Yeah.
Unique Warg sent $30. Only blackmail in the files is Epstein protecting his people from blackmail. Had David Boies draw up a settlement to pay off some bitch who had supposed orgy tapes of Clinton and Dersh. Some other Russian bitch tried to blackmail his associates too. He protected his clients.
There you
Ryan
go.
sent $25.
Boom.
Reading what got leaked between Epstein and former Activision CEO Bobby Kotick. Seeing that Epstein was all for gambling in Call of Duty from 2014, it's been a funny realization that I was kinda indoctrinated on gambling my parents' money at 13 years old to get the Peacekeeper or a Perkaholic in Black Ops 3 LOL.
That's crazy.
Slow Lori sent $20. You complain the Goyim have ruined anti-Semitism, at least we have misogyny left, which is fundamentally distasteful to the simp, Goyim mind. Drew DeStefano sent $20. I am a deep state operative. We are planning to infiltrate the Super Bowl and deport Bad Bunny, then allowing Jam Wayne to take the show. We will not allow illegals to be in this Christian country. America first. Fuck the knickers. Last base Swede 2 sent $20.
Pain.
Did you catch Matt Walsh today? He went through Epstein being a Jewish supremacist. How he had disdain for Goyim and Christians. And finished with tranny doctors. A start? Will he be based by 2050?
Oh,
Honda 1234 sent
man.
$20.
Yeah, bro.
Hey mate, just a quick question. If you know who Elon Pape is, I'm currently reading a book of his talking about this history of Zionism, but not sure if he is a good source or if there is a better book.
I don't know the book. What
The
book?
Fatigue sent $20. Nick Fuentes, if you can hear me, save me from the Goyim. Young Dolph sent $20. To your point, Epstein directly told Peter Thiel, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschild if you didn't see that.
Mm-hmm.
Third Punisher sent $100. Do you think Coco the gorilla actually understood sign language, or do you think that stupid white bitch wanted attention?
Okay, thank you for the big super chat. Is that like
Butter
a
sent
joke?
$50. Did you see the document in the files referencing Jeffrey Epstein requiring a pint of Mormon blood every week as a form of payment?
Yeah, I'm sure that was real.
Hot24 sent $20. People on Twitter saying you're defending Epstein and being paid by Israel are the dumbest retards I've ever seen. Mako 2003 sent $20. It's clear as day to me that the Epstein files are just a huge distraction from Hunter Biden's laptop. Big Plays sent $20.
Very good.
It's so funny. The people hating on Tate and Ye all work normie corporate jobs and wouldn't dare to say anything out of line that would get them in trouble with their Dike Char mansion.
Yeah,
Lord
very
Negan sent
true.
$20. Is it a Jew? A Hasidic? A Frankist? An Israelite? Well, if we can trace actions to specific ideas / founding myths, the myths are the problem and we gotta call them out. Jewish oligarchy founding myth?
Oh gosh.
Lee Larry sent
And it
$22. How
actually
ironic is it that
hurts.
Jeffrey Epstein, the ultimate Jew, sins against white America only for Nick Fuentes to sell his sweater? Did you see the Epstein interview? Changed his appearance multiple times throughout the 2 hours interview. Refers to finances as a human body with multiple cuts and people walking around in background. Odd.
Yeah. Seems like a coincidence. Yeah.
Russell
I
sent
know.
$20.
It's all
I'm surprised that you
conspiracy.
didn't mention that Epstein was on a work release program, so he left jail for 12 hours a day.
Oh, that's
King of Wessex
shocking.
sent $25. After you talked about it on your show the other night, I watched Revenge of the Sith for the first time. My parents never showed me as a kid because they were prequel haters. Anyway, I loved it and I couldn't agree with you more about Anakin. Thanks for bringing us the truth every night and some genuine entertainment.
Yep, you
British Black
got
Pillow
it.
sent $20. Not even half the files and already the Goyim have gone insane.
Yep.
Rakshaka sent $25. I haven't been watching your show very long. Maybe 7 months. I don't consider myself all that smart either. However, I still get your obvious jokes, hyperbole, or rate bait. How do people not get it? Do they all have Asperger's? I guess being a Goy corrections officer gives you perspective to the true intent of people. Latin
Yeah,
cross emoji.
I don't know. I never understood it. I mean, I just go where the funny is. I just do the thing that's funny and edgy, and that was just calling to me. Somebody said, you got to sell the shirt, and I said, that's the greatest idea I've ever heard.
It is a great idea. The shirt is fucking
I just don't
gnarls,
understand
dude.
not
I love
getting
it.
it.
It's badass.
Like, it's just funny. And people are like, is it political? What? Why is he doing this? It's like, it's stupid. It's funny. It's like, there's all these pictures of him in cool outfits. We're selling the shirt and we're just making a joke out of it. And like, you getting mad makes it funny. That's part of the joke. And I don't know, people still are not there yet. They're like, what? Now this is beyond the pale. Now you've done it. It's like, dude, that's what makes it funny.
Chris Knopp sent $20. Time for you to move on from the Epstein subject. Stick to geopolitics for the movement. Proud Boy sent $20. Thanks for the GW autobiography recommendation. Just finished. One question for you. What would your recommendation for someone wanting to be physically invested in the America First movement be, that has years of experience in sales and networking, but also randomly in years of blue-collar labor? I'm 23 and love politics.
I don't know, man. Find something.
Rabbi Shemi Zlotnick sent $20. This might be your first super chat sent live from Tel Aviv, or not considering all the feds that were sending chats over